NBC Sports is live at the Talladega Superspeedway in Talladega, Alabama, to bring you the EA Sports 500, presented by Dodge, for the Nascar Winston Cup Series. The circuit's biggest track, and today the world's fastest moving traffic jam. The only people that use their seats at Talladega are the 43 guys in the starting field. This isn't just about speed. Here you go fast, but you must race with grace, because there are no small mistakes at Talladega. Today, Stacy Compton starts on the pole. It's his second pole of the season. Both have come here at this track. Stacy starting first didn't surprise anyone. Stacy finishing first, that would probably surprise everyone. Bobby Hamilton did finish first here in April, but in the 21 races since, his best finish, 10th. Hamilton is hoping for the Talladega sweep. For more from the grid, here's Marty Snyder.
Well, Bill, if Jeff Gordon's point lead continues to grow at this rate, he'll definitely have a slot on the Tonight Show in a few months. And, Jeff, it's a comfy 3:34 at this point, but I would dare say you'd be more comfortable if it was 3:34 after the day, right?
Yeah, that's for sure. To me, there's no points league comfortable enough right now. Teams have been doing a great job making sure we get there to the end, and, boy, if we could do that today, that'd be a big bonus.
Well, every year since 1995, the three-time champ has won a plate race. Still looking for that first restrictor plate win in 2001. To Matt Yoakum.
Marty, the Dodge boys have swept all 4 restrictor plate poles in 2001, but they still seek their first big track win. Here in April, Sterling Marlin led the most laps, but he was shuffled out of contention late and finished a frustrating 23rd. Today, he will roll off third in his 40 machine. Sterling has points on his mind, now only 109 markers out of second, but more importantly, he has a win on his mind. The last time he drove the victory lane at a plate race was July '96, so this is what he hopes the competition sees today. To Dave Burns.
Well, we showed you the small one at the front of the broadcast. Only 10 cars involved in that final practice wreck. Rusty Wallace among them. They will all have to take their backup cars and move to the back of the pack by rule to start the race. But there are some fast guys back there as well, including Rusty's brother, Mike Wallace. And I talked with Mike, and you bet from the back of the pack he's going to race this thing as hard as it'll go all day long. He does not have a ride secured for next year, and he needs to be the story all day long running up front. And now he's got his brother Rusty back there, but he may not need him. He's finished in the top 10 in the last 3 restrictor plate races. Mike Wallace will be good in the 12 today. Bill?
Thanks, Dave. 43 cars, 500 miles, and 5 drivers racing for the Winston No Bull $1 million bonus. NBC Sports is proud to welcome you back to the EA Sports 500, presented by Dodge, live from Talladega. This track is 2.66 miles around, and certainly some of the most daring moments will take place on the backstretch. It is 48 feet wide and 4,000 feet long. Now the pre-race ceremony.
America. Please join Hal Marchman for today's invocation.
Long may this land be bright with freedom's holy light. Protect us by thy might, great God, our King. We thank you that you are our God and we are your children. We thank you for this wonderful spot with all of the people who make this day possible, and we invoke your blessings upon all of us. Shalom and amen.
And please welcome Warner Brothers recording artist Blake Shelton for the singing of today's national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave?
And now, ladies and gentlemen, for the most famous words in racing to start the EA Sports 500, welcome back Richard Petty and Bobby Allison. Gentlemen, start your engines.
Track in April, 29 cars on the lead lap, 37 lead changes among 26 drivers. You don't need a reason to watch Talladega, you need a reason not to. NBC's coverage of the NASCAR EA Sports 500, presented by Dodge, is brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. By the United States Army, an army of one. By UPS, the official delivery company of NASCAR. We want to race the truck. People love the truck. And by NASCAR Thunder 2002. EA Sports, it's in the game. Welcome back to Talladega. 160,000 fans around the track and hanging out in the infield, all so they can say they saw the excitement of Talladega in person. 43 cars ready to roll off pit road, 5 guys going for $1 million bonus. And now here are 3 guys that have absolutely no appreciation for the term no bull. Alan Bestwick, Benny Parsons, and Wally Dallenbach.
Hey, we're trained professionals. Don't try this at home. Benny, you said earlier you don't think we can see a caution-free race here today like we did at Talladega back in April. What has to happen for it to be a caution-free race?
Well, the drivers have to give. You just cannot take too much. You have to always keep your other driver in mind. But that's not going to happen today. I don't think too many drivers need a good run to get that ride, that solid ride for next year. Too many owners are sponsor hunting. They need their car up front. They're going to tell their driver to get up front. Take those chances. And when drivers take a chance, we usually end up with trouble.
We talked earlier in our pre-race coverage about the technical rules for the cars that are different here at Talladega and at Daytona than every place else. There's one major race procedure rule that's different here too, Wally, and that's the out-of-bounds line.
Yeah, we have a yellow line now that you're not supposed to cross. It used to be that anything goes, the track, the grass. Here in the spring race, we had Casey Atwood try to make a pass, and you can see that yellow line down on the inside. If you go below that yellow line, that's a stop-and-go penalty, which you're going to lose at least one lap. So you're really not supposed to cross that line. And it makes it actually a lot safer, because it used to be we'd go 4 or 5 wide, and then you get to the corner, and there wasn't enough room. So I think that was a real smart move.
So we'll keep an eye on that. We have seen it play out a couple of times already this year. Remember Tony Stewart at Daytona in July, and the one we just showed you, Casey Atwood, here in April. Cars are rolling out onto the track. Let's get you a driver's eye view of this massive speedway with Benny's Thunder Motion.
And our Thunder Motion is powered by EA Sports NASCAR Thunder 2002. This racetrack, really and truly, you can run about any place that you want to go. High, low, the middle of the racetrack. We'll see cars 3, 4 wide in the corners and 5 wide down the straightaway.
All right, let's see how good your car drafts up here.
All right. This is really key. They really got to work on. They work on these cars trying to suck up, to pull right up behind that car. But I've got such a good hot rod today, I'm going right by Sterling Marlin. Jimmy Spencer on the outside, he's not going to be a problem. And once I get that draft, that suck off that 18 car, it just pulls me right along, and it's like I got a rope and they're pulling me in, getting me closer and closer, and pile up on it. You're going to win. Hit him.
The big power move.
Hit him a little bit. You know, if I had a car that fast in today's race, NASCAR, I would tear that car into 1,000 pieces trying to find out just what made that car so fast. EA Sports NASCAR Thunder 2002 is now available in stores.
Cars are on the racetrack, making the first of their parade and pace laps for both you and the drivers. Final moment to take a deep breath. The green flag is next. Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR, is the proud sponsor of the Bud Pole Award, given to the fastest qualifier in each NASCAR Winston Cup race. Stacy Compton made it 2 for 2 at Talladega this year, picking up his 2nd straight Bud Pole Award at this track on Friday in qualifying. Since 1979, Anheuser-Busch has awarded more than $7 million as the title sponsor of NASCAR's Pole Award program. And now the Walmart starting grid for today's EA Sports 500. Compton and Bobby Hamilton share the front row. Hamilton won here at Talladega back in April. Row number 2, it's Sterling Marlin with 2 Talladega wins to his credit, and Johnny Benson, who scored his best Talladega finish here in April.
On the inside of row 3, Bill Elliott won twice here, but no restrictor plate wins. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. won the race in Daytona July 4th. Back in row 4 on the inside, John Andretti will have to go to a backup car in the 43, and Kyle Petty on the outside.
Joe Nemechek goes from row 5. He's got a couple of top 10s in the last 2 Talladega races, and Dale Jarrett, the 98 winner of this event. 6th row, championship leader Jeff Gordon with 2 Talladega victories to his credit, and last week's winner, Ricky Craven.
On the inside of row 7, Jeff Purvis, another driver having to go to backup, and Mark Martin. He has 2 Talladega wins. He was 4th in April. On the inside of row 8, Kenny Wallace had his career second place here last fall, and Brett Bodine, great qualifying run for Brett.
9th row, Elliott Sadler, who finished 3rd at Daytona in the Pepsi 400, and Ward Burton, who's finished 3rd the last 2 straight races. 10th row, it's Kevin Harvick, 12th in April in his first Talladega restrictor plate race, and Terry Labonte, who was one of the fastest in final practice, but crashed that car and is in a backup. He'll go to the end of the field.
In row 11 on the inside is Todd Bodine, last week's pole winner. On the outside, Buckshot Jones. Back in row 12, Ricky Rudd. This is his 50th Talladega start. Alongside him, Matt Kenseth.
13th row, Jimmy Spencer, 1994 winner of this race, and Casey Atwood, who had a good run going until he got penalized for a out-of-bounds line violation here in April. 14th row, Kurt Busch started in this same spot in April and finished 3rd, and Ken Schrader, who's also in a backup car.
On the inside of row 15, Jerry Nadeau, 6th place in Daytona, was his best restrictor plate finish. Michael Waltrip, the winner of the Daytona 500 on the outside. In row 16 on the inside, Dave Blaney, And on the outside, Rusty Wallace, again, will have to go to the rear of the field with a backup car. Rusty Wallace.
17th row, Jeff Burton had to repair some left front fender damage to his car, but he holds his starting spot. Bobby Labonte, a lot of times he drops to the back in the opening laps here and lets the traffic sort out. 18th row, Bobby Hamilton Jr. in his first NASCAR Winston Cup restrictor plate race, and Robert Presley in the Jasper Ford.
Back in the row 19 on the inside, Tony Stewart. He was second here in April, and Mike Wallace. 3 restrictor plate races this year, 3 top 10 finishes. In row 20 on the inside, Robbie Gordon, the 31 car, and Kevin LePage driving the car that Mike Wallace had those 3 top 10 finishes at restrictor plate races.
Final 3 starters in the field, Jason Leffler, Ron Hornaday in a Chevrolet this week. The team bringing that one instead of a Pontiac. And Hut Strickland has the 43rd and final position in the grid. Those who failed to qualify: Dave Marcus, unable to make the final start at Talladega before he hangs up the helmet at the end of the year, and Rick Mast. Final stories from pit road. Marty?
Well, Alan, let me introduce a new term to many people's vocabulary, a rad car. I'm not talking about a cool car. I'm talking about a coalition between Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, Andy Petrie Racing, and Richard Childress Racing. There are 7 rad cars in the field today. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is one of those cars, and ever since this aerodynamic package was introduced last year at Talladega, a rad car has won every one of these races. Today, Burns.
Marty, last night, Bill Elliott had a dream. It wasn't a good dream. He dreamed that he couldn't find his car to get here to the racetrack. The other problem, his phone in the dream was in the car. He couldn't call Ray Evernham to tell him that he couldn't make it to the track. In reality, Bill Elliott is in the car. He will make his 50th start here at Talladega and hope to get his 3rd win here at the Superspeedway. Matt?
Dave, there's only been 1 caution-free race in the last 8 here at Talladega, so fuel mileage could end up playing a factor by day's end. Talking to a number of engine builders in the garage area this morning, most can go 50-plus laps, so they can make this race on 3 segments if it should go green. The one group that has trouble going the distance, 50 laps, is the Hendrick cars. They're a 46 to 49 lap range. Alan?
It'll take 188 laps to make up the 500-mile distance around this massive speedway, every one of them fraught with tension, breathtaking moves on the racetrack. It's on-your-feet action all day long, and you'll see it all live on NBC as Stacey Compton and Bobby Hamilton lead the field to the green flag.
Sterling Marlin's plan didn't work too well. He laid back to try to get him a good run, and it allowed 2 other cars to get between himself and the 92 of Stacey Compton.
Joe Nemechek to the inside, 4 deep, moves all the way up to 2nd spot.
That inside lane you did not want to be in, but because of the current rules, actually that inside line is pretty fast, but you need help. Bobby Hamilton is stuck right there, but if these cars can get up behind him, I think you'll see him go forward.
It's Hamilton in the 55. Started on the outside of the front row. Came across the start-finish line 14th.
There's Ricky Craven, the winner last week, the 32 car in front of Bobby Hamilton. Maybe these 2 cars can get hooked up, and they also have several cars behind them pushing them.
Now about through the 2nd lap, so the car is completely up to speed now. Takes a little while to build up the full head of momentum with the restricted engines. Stacey Compton leads. Joe Nemechek is 2nd. Johnny Benson is 3rd. Jeff Gordon, who settled in 4th, and we start lap 3. 160,000, saluting the memory of the man who won more races at this track than any other, Dale Earnhardt. That's 8th place. Sterling Marlin there trying to get to the outside of Elliott Sadler.
Folks, if you're a race car fan, this is beautiful.
There's Rusty Wallace. Remember, he started at the end of the line in a backup car. Last time across the start-finish line, he was up to 25th.
Looks like Rusty has that high line working beautifully for him. Uh-oh, there goes Casey Atwood up through the middle, going by Rusty Wallace.
It's his brother Mike behind him there, the Mobil 1 car. Well, he was in line behind you, Rusty.
Yeah, but now he's going by you, Rusty.
Look at Sterling Marlin lead that outside lane up. For the lead, Marlin charging forward with a push from Dale Earnhardt Jr. And Craven breaks to the outside.
And you listen to Sterling Marlin's engine, you hear never backing off the throttle, wide open all the way around the speedway.
Start-finish line at Talladega is at the exit of the Tri-Oval. Unlike most racetracks, right there is the stripe. Now Marlin, officially the second leader of the race.
Sterling is looking out the windshield as much as he is in the mirror right now, because you got to protect your position. All these guys are protecting positions, but it's real easy to lose a spot on the high side. If a car gets high and everybody follows that car, then you could be in the middle by yourself and get hung out. So you'll watch Sterling move the car. See, he's running down low now. Then the next lap he may run in the middle or high. So he's really trying to protect that spot.
Look at 4th place. Jeff Burton in the 99 started back in 33rd place. They had to fix the left front fender on this car after the big crash in final practice yesterday. 7 laps in the top 5.
Watch the yellow line, boys.
Right.
You cannot get below that yellow line back there, Wally. Talk about it. That's a bad no-no.
Jason Leffler is right behind Jeff Burton. He's up to 6th. He started 41st. And it's going to be that way all day. If you follow a particular driver, it's going to frustrate you at times because your driver's going to go from 2nd to 30th to 5th to 40th to 1st, whatever. It's just going to be that way all day long.
And Ron Hornaday following Jeff Gordon through turns 1 and 2. He started 42nd. And last time by, he was running in the 9th position. During our qualifying show on Friday afternoon, Dale Jarrett said every car here will run from positions 1 through 43, probably on Sunday afternoon. The trick is to try to be in the front at the end of 188 laps.
Sterling Marlin leads Dale Earnhardt Jr., Bobby Hamilton, Jeff Burton, and Jason Leffler. We're just underway at Talladega. Before we get to Phoenix, we've got an afternoon of excitement at Talladega as the EA Sports 500 continues from the world's fastest speedway presented by Dodge. Lead change. As we come back from the break, Bobby Hamilton has gone out in front.
That car looked awfully good and happy yesterday, BP. The 55 car, Bobby Hamilton.
And the talk in the garage area that the 55 car seems to be the car to beat if you're going to win this afternoon.
Hamilton, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Burton are the 3 that have broken away at the front of the pack as we look down on Talladega, courtesy of the United States Army. An army of one. There are 212 ways to be a soldier. Find out more at GoArmy.com.
See, Jason Leffler was running second, about a lap ago. Now he's back to the 7th position. That's one of those cars that I was referring to. He can't sit back and ride. He's got to go to the front. He's looking for a ride. The 01 car looking for a sponsor. Dave Burns, what do you have on the 01?
Well, BP, I stopped by their garage stall this morning and talked to crew chief Matt Chambers about their car, why it qualified 41st, while the team car of Sterling Marlin qualified 3rd. They really have no explanation because the cars are built almost identical. But Jason did not qualify the car well. They knew, however, it would race well, and he's moved his way to the front already.
There's Jason racing alongside Bobby Labonte for a spot. I talked with Bobby and his team's hauler this morning. Last couple of times at these races, Bobby has fallen back and rode at the tail end of the field for most of the day and then raced his way toward the front. I said, is that the strategy today? He said, you know, we make that call about 3 minutes before race time. I guess the call today was to go ahead and charge up in there.
Certainly looks that way.
Started 34th. He's up to 8th. Rusty Wallace continuing to try and pick his way toward the front.
Last time by, Bobby Hamilton, the leader. The average speed, 190.385 miles per hour.
Sterling Marlin, who was the leader just a few laps ago, is back to 21st. That's John Andretti ahead of him with something dangling off the back.
Looks like someone has gotten in the back of the rear bumper and maybe cracked it.
Up front, Dale Earnhardt Jr. looking for the lead.
You're all clear.
That'll bring the stands up to their feet.
Marty Snyder.
Well, it's funny because on the radio just a moment ago, Junior was talking about how good Bobby Hamilton looks. I think he's trying to feel his way around the racetrack, who he can run well with and who he works better with in the draft. But he just told his spotter, Ty Norris, hey, that 55 car is awesome today.
And I think they all know it because that's what you get. That's what's called hanging out to dry. They let the 55 car hang out to dry. He's going to lose 10 or 12 spots because he didn't have anybody to help. And now he's got Rusty Wallace full on the outside of him.
Well, Hamilton was side by side for the lead last time at the start-finish line. Let's see where he is this time. Ricky Rudd down to the inside. Casey Atwood in the middle there in the red Dodge.
Bobby Hamilton was 10th that lap. It's Kevin Harvick in the white number 29 car. Following closely, Casey Atwood in the 19, the red car. On board with Kevin Harvick.
On the gas there for a second.
That looked like a big distance back to Joe Nemechek and Hud Strickland, but that's, as you can see, as we go to camera on the roof, really not that far.
Mike and Rusty Wallace, 22nd and 21st places. Dave?
I talked with Mike Wallace just before the start of the race, and I asked him about the cars dropping to the back, who he might run with. And, of course, he said his brother. And then he walked me over to the car and showed me a toggle switch down by his right where he would sit, down by his left thigh, that he can switch to a second channel and talk to Rusty. They might be able to communicate their way through some of this traffic today.
See, Rusty Wallace's car there sounded like he was missing, but he would not be running that well if, in fact, he had a miss in the engine. That's sounding better now.
The bright orange spoiler and roof numbers on Rusty's car indicating that he's one of the 5 drivers running for the Noble $5 million bonus today. Rusty and Mike having the ability to talk to each other. They are teammates now. Is it unusual?
No. No, we used to be able to do that at Hendrick, and also Mark Martin and I When we were teammates, we had that ability as well. And it just saves a lot of time, especially on a restrictor plate race. You don't have to go through spotters, and by the time you get through the spotters and get the message across, things have changed quickly.
Sterling Marlin slowing down. Is he coming to pit road? No.
He may just be dropping back to the back of the pack. He's done that before. Wasn't that at Daytona?
Car wasn't handling well, and he got out of the traffic and said, we'll just ride at the back until we get to a pit stop and can fix it. I think you're right, Walt. We'll find out what's going on with Sterling Marlin when we come back to Talladega. We've completed 50 miles of 500 in the EA Sports 500 presented by Dodge. Aerial shots from the Budweiser.com airship at Talladega are brought to you by Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR. Enjoy, race fans.
There that balloon is, just floating along in a beautiful Alabama afternoon.
Spectacular action to look down on. Log on now to NASCAR.com and check out the Conseco NASCAR Fantasy Challenge. Pick your own team of drivers and see how you match up against other fantasy teams. Log on today, and you might just win a replica of the number 14 Conseco Winston Cup Pontiac. Ron Hornaday running in 8th place in the Conseco car now, behind leader Dale Earnhardt Jr. We talked about Sterling Marlin having problems. Jimmy Spencer has come to pit road with big problems. Matt?
So, Jimmy, an early exit for you. What happened?
Just something broke in the top of the motor, I think, you know, like a piston, or I really don't know for sure. I mean, you're sitting there riding. This isn't racing. You can get up there and race anytime you call it racing. It's boring for the drivers. It's scary boring. It's not racing, and it's awful that we have to put up with this, but that's part of it. And unfortunately, we're out of it, so we won't be in the wreck today. I hope there isn't no wreck today. You know, everybody's using their head right now, so that's pretty good. But something happened in the motor. Robert Yates has been doing a great job all year long, and it just something happened there, and we aren't really sure.
Is there anything you can do? You say you hate this kind of racing.
It is. I mean, what can you do? You know, if you want to get up there and lead for a while, you can, and then somebody else will shuffle you back, because every car out there is equal right now, and they're all running hot because they're so close together. And you know, if the good Lord blesses us all today, and everybody uses their head, we won't have an accident, and nobody will get hurt, and we'll have a winner. But it ain't racing not the way I've been born to learn how to race.
His last win came here at Talladega. Also, guys, one update on Sterling Marlin. He dropped to the back as a plan. Tony Glover told him, if you can't get back up to the front and run with the 1st through 5th place cars, just drop to the back and let's play it safe like our game plan was already set out.
All right, Matt, thanks. That is the first Spencer's remarks of many comments we'll hear today about drivers not liking these rules.
Here's what you do, okay? You lay the spoiler down about 30 degrees, and you make these cars really hard to drive, and you won't see these cars in a pack. You know, you can't have it both ways. The cars, if they're hard to drive, you won't see them in big packs 3x3. Problem is, this is what the fans want to see. This is good racing. So if you make the cars handle really well, what the drivers like. Sure, I love a car that handles this good. And when you got 40 cars that handle this good, this is the kind of racing you're going to have. You can't have it both ways. The car's either going to not handle, and you're going to have single file racing, or the cars are going to handle good, and this is what you're going to get, BP.
And again, I don't think that the 160,000 people here and the folks watching on TV today want to see these cars run in single file. I think they want to see exactly what they're seeing now. I mean, I know one thing. I am very entertained watching this.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. leads. Jeff Burton is 2nd. Stacy Compton 3rd. Johnny Benson is 4th. And now Todd Bodine has moved up to race Kenny Wallace for 5th. That's Bodine in the 66, the light blue car, and Kenny Wallace in the 1 who is outside. More on Todd Bodine from Dave Burns.
Alan, we checked in his pit just to make sure that they weren't concerned about similar motor problems to teammate Jimmy Spencer. And, of course, well, they said no, but then again, you have the same motor builders building engines for team cars. So Todd will have to keep that thing cool and be careful out there. Another problem he's had, though, is he's tried to go to the front with the 14 car of Ron Hornaday right behind them, and they don't feel that the 14 car can push them to the front. So already starting to figure out who they're faster with.
pole speed and last lap. It's a lot faster in the draft.
And they do everything in the world to make the cars go fast on a qualifying run. It's just when you're out there by yourself and you don't have all these cars stirring this air up, if you took these cars right now and put them on the racetrack by themselves, top speed would be about 180 miles per hour. But yet, with all the air stirred up and following each other, they're able to run somewhere around 188, 190 miles per hour.
And that's even a lot of times when you're in the draft, like the 33 and the 24. These guys are keeping their foot down all the way around, the right foot. But they're also working the brake. You don't want to get out of the throttle with the restrictor plate motor because it takes so long for it to respond back to get up the power. So what you do is you ride the brake. You just tap the brake to slow the car down. If you're getting a run on somebody and you can't make the pass, you don't want to hit them. You just buff the brake a little bit with your left foot.
You know, talking about what it's like to be behind the wheel in this big pack of cars, Michael Waltrip told us earlier in the weekend, you need to be patient. It's the only way to do it at Talladega because it's not unusual to go from first to 20th or the other way around in a single lap.
He who's first will be last and who's last will be first. Someone said that a long time ago, and I'm bringing it back because it's true. And you just don't need to wreck in 490 miles. Nobody should worry about anything for 490 miles. And then everybody ought to just say, okay, now it's time to go. Let's see what happens. And, I mean, I'm smart enough to realize that. I just hope everybody else is.
Yeah. But the problem is these guys, Stacy Compton, sit right in there in third spot. They're trying their best to find a sponsor for next year. It doesn't look good to move out and go to the back. They need to stay up there. They need for the sponsor to say, wow, that really is a good team.
You're right, Benny. I mean, if you're sitting there with a nice multi-year contract with, you know, with the race team and a sponsor, you can afford to do that. But when you're out there and you're auditioning, which a lot of these guys and teams are today, you can't ride. You want to be up front all the time.
Here's Michael Waltrip in 19th place, and you saw the gap from he up to leader Dale Earnhardt Jr.
That green BP car, Dave Blaney, another team that's looking for a sponsor, and also a driver. Blaney announced this week that he'll be driving the 77 car next year. And here comes Bobby Hamilton, decided, I think I'll try see if I can't go back to the front.
Led a little bit earlier. He's back in 22nd place now. May fall farther back than that and then start to climb his way back to the front. It's just the way it works here. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Here's our Wendy's race menu. Next week, the race for the championship moves to the desert Southwest, Phoenix, Arizona. And that mile track coverage at 2 p.m. Eastern Time next Sunday on NBC. Rockingham, Homestead, Atlanta, and New Hampshire to wrap up the season for 2001. And back at the world's fastest speedway in Talladega, new second-place runner Kevin Harvick has moved in behind Dale Earnhardt Jr.
29's behind you. He's been a little antsy. Two back.
It's Ty Norris, the spotter for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Jeff Gordon running in 8th place. Marty?
Well, guys, one of the inherent problems with restrictor plate racing, and you heard Jimmy Spencer mention it, these cars are so close that they have a tendency to overheat. They can't get any cool air to cool the cars down. That is the case for Jeff Gordon. The oil right now for Gordon, 250. The water, 230. His engine builder, Jay Wiles, says that is the threshold limit right there. We cannot go any higher than that. 240 on the water is the most we want to see. To Bill Weber.
And similar problems, Marty, for his teammate Terry Labonte, overheating in the engine compartment. Terry has dropped back. Crew Chief Gary Dehart says they will be fine. They just want to put a little bit of tape off the grill. The big problem comes when Terry closes up behind somebody. That drives the temperature up. So obviously he's laying back even further off the back of the 40. Alan?
Terry running in 39th place. Behind him are Dale Jarrett, his teammate Jerry Nadeau, and Tony Stewart as the final cars on the track. Mike Wallace trying to pick his way back forward. Dave?
And Alan, we thought he might charge to the front right at the beginning, but he has had the similar problem that everyone else is having with overheating right now. He is not getting he's not getting the horsepower that he needs, and so he's been trying to get the car out in clean air to try to get that cool air into the motor. See, like he is on the high side.
That is absolutely right, Dave. Well, these motors are very sensitive to temperature, and if they start getting a little bit too hot, boy, the power really noses over on them, and you can really tell a difference driving these restrictor plate motors.
But trying to get the car out in clean air means you're not in the draft to the car ahead of you, and you're losing speed that way also.
Yeah, you're
outside of the 29. You're all clear. High if you need it. All clear.
You basically got to ride it out until you get into the pit so they can pull some tape off. That's the only thing that's going to fix it.
Jason Leffler looking for second spot to the outside of Kevin Harvick.
Clear high if you need it.
Todd Bodine trying to push Leffler through. We've been hearing Ty Norris, Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s spotter, helping his driver through some of the traffic. The spotters are located on top of the broadcast booths at the start-finish line, just past the entrance of the exit, rather, of pit road here at Talladega.
Outside now, outside. There he is, outside.
And you see what a long look it is back into the corner here. We talked with Ty earlier in the weekend about the pressures involved in spotting for a car during this bunched up traffic at a restrictor plate race.
You don't ever want to make a mistake, and you have so much pressure on you to either say the right thing, tell him to get in the right line, and if you tell him to get in the high line, and the high line all of a sudden slows down, you just get this pit in your stomach. And so there's pressure every single lap. And you're just like the crowd sitting at home watching on television. You're waiting for the big wreck, and you're just hoping your driver's not a part of it, and you're hoping that you can tell him something to get him through it. But it's not always the case.
You know, it's so important to have a good spotter anywhere, but really, really important on a place like this. The problem guys have a place like this, you see where the spotters are over across, you know, the front of the racetrack. It's a long ways overlooking at turn 2 or going into turn 3. By the time you push that button and you say something, things have changed. So you really have to have a good feel for where your car is. You don't want to completely rely on a spotter. You use him as a safety net more than you do completely relying on what he says.
As a matter of fact, a lot of the teams will use 2 spotters here at Talladega. There'll be another one in the grandstand over off turn 2.
Speaking of things that have changed, Jason Leffler squeezing by Dale Earnhardt Jr. for the lead. Todd Bodine with him to second, Jr. back to third. And now the race for fourth between Kevin Harvick and Jeff Gordon. Marty Snyder.
Well, Wally, talking about those spotters, how'd you like to break in a spotter for the first time at Talladega?
I wouldn't.
Well, that's what Michael Waltrip's doing today. Actually, it's a veteran spotter. Keith Barnwell is spotting for Michael Waltrip today. He, of course, is Jeff Green's spotter in the NASCAR Busch Series. And they actually fired their old spotter last week because they didn't feel like he was getting the job done. So they hired Keith this week, and for the rest of the season, this is the first week Keith and Michael have ever worked together. Tough place to break them in.
Yeah, I would think so.
It really is. And you got to, I'll tell you, there's personalities there because the drivers have to get a spotter that, like I yell at my spotter all the time, so I want somebody that's not going to get their feelings hurt. It's not that I'm mad at them. It's just you drive angry, and when you talk on the radio, you talk angry.
For the lead, Todd Bodine around the outside of Jason Leffler. Jeff Gordon is pushing him through.
Wow, did you see? That was a power move by Todd Bodine. But back comes Jason Leffler on the inside.
Mark Martin pulling up behind Gordon. John Andretti there, the yellow nose car from the back. That's a backup car, the 43. From Kevin Harvick's car. Oh, Leffler wiggled up in front of Earnhardt Jr. in the corner.
Pretty impressive right there. You clear 3 back. Clear 3 back.
Earnhardt Jr. back out in front in the EA Sports 500 from Talladega, presented by Dodge on NBC.
NBC's coverage of the NASCAR EA Sports 500, presented by Dodge, is brought to you by Budweiser, with the crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer. This Bud's for you. By Dodge, you can take life as it comes, so you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. By Wendy's Bacon Mushroom Melt. When you gotta have one, you gotta have one. And by Walmart. Always low prices. Always.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. leads the EA Sports 500 on NBC, presented by Dodge. Here's our Dodge track fact. Dave Marcus, the last one to get a Mopar win here. Of course, for most of the time between then and now, they weren't competing in Winston Cup racing. They've got some strong threats for a victory today.
I don't see a whole lot of guys pushing. Do you, BP? I mean, I would think if anything, there's some guys that are loose, but everybody's staying fairly low down on the bottom of the racetrack.
Mike Wallace has gone to the outside. 3 wide up on the outside, trying to get something going, but he's not high enough because Bobby Hamilton Jr. was on the outside of him.
Matt Kenseth in the 17, Todd Bodine in the 66. They're racing for 4th and 5th. Behind Earnhardt Jr., Hamilton, and Nemechek, the front 3. On board Ron Hornaday.
We keep talking about the draft and running behind other cars and what it does. Let's go inside our virtual garage and try to explain a little bit better about what drafting is all about. Here we come in at Talladega, 2.5-mile speedway. As the car goes through the air goes around the car, over the car, and leaves a void behind that car. The one behind the car behind, doesn't have to run in that air, doesn't meet all that resistance, and it just easily pulls up right behind the other car, and those two cars together can run much faster than a car on the inside.
Todd Bodine and Kenseth still hung up there, racing side by side for 4th. Bodine on the outside, the light blue car.
And Bobby Hamilton has finally worked his way back to second place. Bill Weber.
Terry Labonte, one of the first cars on pit road, along with a couple of Dodges, and Ken Schrader. It's 4 tires. They did pull a little tape off the front grill. It's a 4-tire stop and fuel. Terry's on his way. Marty?
And a 4-tire stop for Ken Schrader. Extremely loose. They made a wedge adjustment for Schrader. Took a long time on the right rear tire.
Bill Elliott and Casey Atwood also making pit stops. They were first in at lap 45.
Boy, that's risky, making a pit stop like that. If Schrader loses a draft, he's going to be in a lot of trouble because he'll get lapped real quick if he has nobody to draft with in order to help, keep the pace here. Now, a lot of these guys up front will pit together because they want to come in together so when they leave, they'll still be in the draft after the pit stops.
There you see the 2 cars on the left. That's Bill Elliott and Casey Atwood trying to get hooked up, trying to pull away from the leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Not going to work. Jr. just blows by on the outside.
They'll melt into the pack here and try and stay up toward the front of it. And when the other leaders peel off to make their pit stops, the 2 Evernham cars will try to draft together around the track and keep up so that they can melt back in when the leaders come off the pit lane. More stops. Dave Burns.
Jason Leffler comes in now. He was just a little bit loose in the center of the corner. They said they would make an adjustment for him. Also right in front of him, Kevin LePage is pulled in. He may block the way out. Matt?
Johnny Benson already in his stall. He has an open stall behind him. This will be a 4-tire change. No adjustments for Benson to Bill.
Pole sitter on pit road, Stacy Compton with a 2-tire stop, rights only, but it takes a long time to get that fuel in. He's on his way, Marty.
Jerry Nadeau was hanging at the back of the pack, Bill. Remember, these guys did that at Daytona and wound up finishing 6th. It will be 4 tires, no adjustments. He's very happy with the chassis.
Here come the leaders through the tri-oval, past pit road. They'll overtake all of those cars who are in the pits. Ooh, Kenseth and Nemechek almost get together. Dave?
Mike Wallace is in. Remember, he was complaining that the car was hot, too much temperature. Tape coming off the front right now to take care of that. That will decrease his downforce just a little bit. Now he may be able to compete up underneath other cars and run up toward the front. That was what he couldn't do before. A tearaway coming off the windshield, and he stalls the car coming off pit road. Mike refires it, and he leaves.
Brett Bodine, Dave Blaney also leaving pit road.
But they have to observe the speed limit. All those white lines down pit road, those are time-in marks. NASCAR officials timing those cars. They know how long it takes to get from one line to the next. If you go too fast, they stop and go penalty.
Wholesale pit stops.
This time, 3,800 when you get to the line.
As Ty Norris gives Dale Jr. his instructions. Dave Burns.
Ron Hornaday is in. He complained that the car was very, very loose. The crew is going to make an air pressure adjustment to try to fix that. He will take on 4 tires and a full load of fuel, plus a wedge adjustment. Matt.
5 laps ago, Tony Glover told Sterling Marlin to get by the 32, so when he pitted, he did not have to worry about getting around the 32 into stall. 4 tires and fuel, Bill.
Bobby Hamilton on pit road, 4 tires, track bar adjustment to free him up a little bit. Getting the fuel, he's on his way, Marty.
Jeff Gordon, 4 tires and no adjustments, Bill. They do pull 2 strips of tape off the front grille. Remember, he is running a little bit hot, and he very narrowly misses a collision on pit road.
Gordon and Hamilton head back out. The leader, Dale Earnhardt Jr. And most of the rest of the field that hasn't stopped yet on the binders, headed for the pit lane. Stops as they complete their 50th lap of the race. Dave?
The 99 car of Jeff Burton is in. The car is running great. 4 tires and fuel, no changes for Jeff at this point. He started back, ran to the front, and it's a good race so far for Burton. Bill.
4 tires for Mark Martin. Again, all these stops coming under green. This is what drivers like to see because it spreads out the big pack. Marty?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. a little free on entry, Bill, so they add 1 pound of air pressure to the right front tire. That should tighten him up. Other than that, no changes for Dale Jr. Remember, this is the car that led 116 laps in Daytona. Talent.
What happened to Kevin Harvick?
When we were looking at that last pit stop, I could see the 29 on the door. That's not a good thing. I don't know if he had to drive around somebody or to get in that pit stall.
And was there any contact that might have damaged this car? Matt Kenseth was the leader. He's on pit road now. Let's watch Harvick coming to his pit stall.
He just locked them up.
Just locked up the brakes, and the car slid sideways.
And that which sounds like rear brake.
Both Yates cars have pitted together. Dale Jarrett around a wedge as he's already down and away, 4 tires and fuel, and he will pair up with Ricky Rudd. Both cars were complaining about being loose on the bottom.
Kenseth and Rudd also leaving pit road. So that should complete the cycle of stops. And here comes the pack, thundering around. That's Bobby Labonte leading the charge. So much for green flag pit stop spread in the field.
Yeah. And Kevin Harvick, the 29 car, getting in the pits that way, he has lost the draft from all these cars. And it won't take very long for these cars at 190 mile per hour to lap him.
For that to do that, the car looked like it had a lot of rear brake in it. And as much as you ride the brakes here, normally you'd want the car to have a little bit of front brake. You wouldn't want it to get loose as you're getting in the corner if you had to tap the brakes a little bit. There's a 29 car right now coming through 4. Like you said, BP, we talked earlier, he doesn't have a chance of catching this pack unless he gets a yellow.
But, you know, the funny thing was, when the car came to rest in the pit stall, the 3 tires that have to be inside the painted box were all inside the box. Otherwise, it's a penalty. So his problems could have been worse. He got lucky that only that right rear was hanging outside the line. Matt Kenseth, Ricky Rudd, Dale Jarrett. Good pit work by their teams, getting them out in time to be at the front of the pack instead of in the middle.
And they're 3 wide for the lead. Looks like the outside line. Bobby Labonte. Michael Waltrip decides to dive to the inside.
New leader, Waltrip. Here's his teammate, Dale Jr., right up behind him. Remember, these are the two that finished 1 and 2 in both Daytona races this year.
Look at Matt Kenseth. The time from the start-finish line into the pits, back to the start-finish line, 150.8. A little over, almost 3 seconds faster than Joe Nemechek, the next car. I should say Ron Hornaday, the next car. Matt, what are they saying about the 29 car? What happened?
Well, Ben, we've caught up with Kevin Hamlin, the crew chief for Harvick. What happened, Kevin, on the pit stop?
He was coming in and went to go around that 97 car. When he hit the brakes, the rear brakes locked up, and he come in the box sideways. We lost quite a bit of time, and right now we're running with no other cars, so it's going to be hard for us to catch up. But if there's a caution, we'll be all right.
We touched on Kevin's lack of inexperience here in restrictor plate racing. Only 2 Winston Cup starts here at Talladega, and that's one of the things people preach, how you enter your pit stalls, especially coming off the track on the pit road. You've got to warm those brakes.
9 different leaders so far this afternoon in the EA Sports 500, presented by Dodge on NBC. NASCAR on NBC from the Talladega Superspeedway, bringing you coverage of the EA Sports 500. It is Michael Waltrip leading, Dale Earnhardt Jr. second, Matt Kenseth third, Todd Bodine fourth, and Mark Martin fifth. Sixth is Ward Burton. Those the cars lined up single file. Then the double wide, 7th and 8th, Jeff Burton and Jerry Nadeau. Pretty solid day for the Coca-Cola Racing family so far. Neil Jarrett ran in the back up through the first pit stop. Then his crew got him up in a 13th spot. John Andretti driving a backup car today. And Tony Stewart, from all appearances, continuing to use the ride around at the back strategy until later in the race. Dave, what about Tony Stewart?
You're exactly right, Alan. That is the strategy that they're employing here. In fact, I checked in their pit, and they tell me that they may not start racing until after the final round of pit stops. He came in on lap 49, and the rumor around the garage area was they could go maybe closer to lap 60 on fuel. So I asked Greg Zeppedelli, the crew chief, why they came in so early. No reason to really stay out. Come in, check things over, check their mileage. Tony doesn't want to race until the end, and so it's just all routine for the 20 car.
See the paint scheme on the car a little different than we normally see out of the Home Depot machine. Coca-Cola and Home Depot and Tony and Joe Gibbs teaming up with the Marine Corps' Toys for Tots program to try and boost that effort up around the holiday time. 100% of the royalties from their Polar Bear die casts and collectibles are going to Toys for Tots. And the same for Bobby Labonte's car. They've got a little different paint on that one this week too. Same program. So there you go, your Polar Bears along for a ride on an October afternoon in Alabama.
Good for them.
Johnny Benson, Matt, what's going on with him?
Alan, the same scenario for Johnny Benson as Tony Stewart. James Ince, Benson's crew chief, was trying to get Benson to the back the last 3 plate races. That's where they've run the first part of the race just to keep their car out of trouble. But they were running so well up at the front, they were afraid they were going to get wrecked if they threw the anchor out to get to the back. So now after their stop, they are going to hang at the back and just play it safe.
37th place is where Johnny Benson runs right now.
Look at that. Last lap he ran 192 miles per hour running in the back, trying to stay out of trouble.
The only problem with this strategy of running in the back is it doesn't guarantee you that you're going to miss the wreck if it happens in front of you.
No.
Bobby Labonte back at Daytona during the 500 was running something like 28th or 30th and ended up with the 5th place car, Tony Stewart, on top of his hood when they had that big scramble in the late laps. Here's Sterling Marlin on board with him. He, remember, dropped to the back of the field earlier in the race. He's moved back up to 12th place now, but we talked with Sterling about the strategy of running in the back and his frustrations at this type of racing. Here's what he had to say.
In May, we had a good car, just got hung in the back. You know, look around, there's me and Dale, Jarrett, and Gordon, and we're all hung. We can't go nowhere. So it's pretty aggravating racing. We come in and done a test for them. We thought, you know, there's going to change some stuff where you at least had to think a little bit to make a pass. But, you know, come with the same rules, and, you know, we'll just try to hang on what we got and try to lead if we can. And, you know, it's a bunch of them talking about going to the rear and just waiting because they dodged the big one here for a while. And, you know, when it comes time to race, go up there and hold your breath for 20, 30 laps, try to get back to front.
And, you know, a lot what you do here, it depends on who's going to run with you. When you make a move, that doesn't mean it's going to be a good move. You've got to have help. You got to have guys in your mirror to help push you by other cars. So it's frustrating because you can't go anywhere unless you do have help. And even if you do have help, like you see these two guys right here, they do, and Burton, they're just stuck running the same speed. Now those cars in front of them lined up, this pack right here, they could pull away from that second pack if they stay side by side, because they're running slower racing side by side than these guys are in line.
Nice lap, Michael Waltrip, then 191 miles per hour and 191 and a half. Also, Dale Earnhardt Jr. did as well. Let's go on board Dale Earnhardt Jr. and just see what kind of telemetry we can see. We can see 194 miles per hour. RPM's about 7,300. And look how constant that mile per hour stays. Now, as he goes in the corner and hits the bank, it's going to start slowing down. As you have to make the car go around the other direction, we can see that it lost about 6 miles per hour going through the turn.
And that's without him taking his foot up off the floor.
Just having to make that turn. And we can see that the back straightaway appears to be much faster today than the front. There must be a tailwind down the back straight. Now let's go back to Kevin Harvick. Remember, he's out there running by himself, and we'll see what kind of mile per hour that he's able to attain with no cars out there.
Not too good.
Not too good. See, he goes to the corner down to 180 miles per hour. And Junior, the slowest speed we saw was 188. You see it 179. Now watch as he goes down the front straight. What we see on Junior, 190, 94, 93. That was on the back. But you can see easily 7, 8 miles per hour slower on Harvick with no cars around him to draft.
Kevin Harvick running 40 seconds behind the leader. 41 seconds behind the leader. That means they're coming up behind him fast, and he's going to be a lap down unless he gets a caution. Michael Waltrip is your leader of the EA Sports 500 on NBC, presented by Dodge. Didn't you call the banking here at Talladega a black diamond ski slope?
Yeah, Stewart was going down a black diamond there. That was steep.
Yeah, I'd love to watch them film that. That would have been great. Tony Stewart hanging around the back of the pack right now here at Talladega, 37th spot. Choosing to wait till later to try and make a charge up through traffic. He is 5.5 seconds behind leader Michael Waltrip, rather. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is second. Matt Kenseth third. Todd Bodine fourth. Mark Martin is fifth. Marty Snyder has an update on the top two for us.
Well, a little while ago, we were talking about the Coca-Cola Racing family, and I'd say Michael Waltrip and Dale Jr. are doing a good job representing Coke. Michael was tight on the run before this. When he came down pit road, they put tape on the front end because about lap 10, he made some pretty serious contact with John Andretti, did it in where the left front headlight would be on your passenger car. They taped it up, knocked it out a little bit. Michael running just fine right now. Here's the deal with Dale Jr. When he was out front, his oil temperature was 225, water 185. But now that he's behind, 255 on the oil, 225 on the water. What he does every once in a while, you'll see him in the tri-oval especially. He'll duck out from behind his teammate and get a little fresh air into the front of the car. Helps cool it down, he says, about 15 degrees on the front stretch.
Look at this for 8th place. The 97 and 29 on the inside are a lap down. Harvick and Kurt Busch have both been overtaken by the leaders. But the rest of that mess is all for top 10 spots.
As you're concerned about these guys getting left, well, I don't think there's any concern about that. All they got to do is get in line. They should be able to run the top 6 down. But right now, they do have about 100 yards between the 6th and 7th place car.
Aerial views of Talladega, courtesy of the United States Army, an army of one. Remember, Kevin Harvick, we saw, get sideways on the pit lane, and that extra time for the crew to push the car back before he took off is what dropped him off of the draft.
And also the 97 car, that's the car that he was in front of sideways. So it cost Kurt Busch being able to get back on the racetrack. That's what he's doing lap.
One little mistake here like that cost you a lap, because if you lose that lead draft, like I talked about earlier, you cannot catch up unless you get a yellow. And if you just lose 2 or 3 seconds in the pits, no matter what happens, it's tough.
Matt?
Benny, I spoke with Ben Leslie, the crew chief on the 97. He told me they didn't have a stellar stop. It ended up being a 19.5, but one of the reasons why it was so long, they had to back up to go around Kevin Harvick. So not only did they have a slow stop, but he hindered their exit. That cost them even more time.
It's cost him a lap. He's back in 40th place. Driver who finished 3rd here in the April race this year.
Now we see that second group. We see about 7 or 8 cars get single file, and watch how quickly that Jerry Nadeau, the 25, Jeff Gordon, runs down Bobby Labonte in that lead group.
Ward Burton running 6th in that lead group. Bill Weber.
And Alan, for the first 50 laps of this race, Ward could barely drive. The car was all over the racetrack. In fact, he said it felt like it was seesawing. The front of the car, the nose lifting up, the back, the rear settling down, back and forth throughout the first 50 laps. They came in with 2 rounds down on the track bar and sent him back out. He says the car is still pushing much more than it did here yesterday in final practice, but it is getting a little better, and his place on the track a little better as well. This could be a big run for his car owner, Bill Davis. It was announced this week that Dave Blaney is leaving because there is no secured sponsorship for the other car in the Bill Davis Racing stable that's a teammate with Ward. Well, remember, Bill Davis went through this once before, down the stretch of the season, trying to keep a promising driver, but couldn't guarantee him sponsorship. That driver had to leave as well. That driver was Bobby Labonte. Bill Davis will not stand in the way of a good driver's career, but he desperately needs a sponsorship for that second car for next season.
And should he come up with one, we'll have no problem finding a quality driver to jump into a Bill Davis car. It is good equipment.
And there we see
the
the...
do it, wouldn't you, Walt?
I know how good equipment is. We almost won Watkins Glen together, Bill Davis and I. And boy, they're good people to drive for us.
Jeff Gordon going rim riding.
Has some help. That's Kurt Busch in the Sharpie car right behind him. And that Bill Davis car right on the inside of him.
Gordon running in 12th right now. Racing Ward Burton for 11th. Remember, Kurt Busch is not on the lead lap. We've just completed 200 miles of the 500 that'll make up this afternoon's race. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Next Saturday at 1 Eastern, horse racing returns to NBC for the 18th edition of the Breeders' Cup World Thoroughbred Championships from historic Belmont Park. The best horses and jockeys in the world gather for the Breeders' Cup. 8 championship stakes races on racing's richest day next Saturday, 1 Eastern on NBC.
That's 1 horsepower, and these cars have about 450 of those horses right under the hood, and that little spot under the hood. It's amazing.
Not going to be any restrictor plate on that horsepower next week, though.
No, we will not close up his nostrils. He will be able to breathe cleanly.
Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Down there somewhere, Michael. Just keep your eyes open.
Right behind Michael Waltrip. The Dale Earnhardt Incorporated teammates running 1st and 2nd.
What's Michael going to do if he sees the debris down there at 190 miles per hour?
Hit it.
Hit it. That's all he can do.
Was report of possible debris in turn 2. NASCAR looked it over. And by the fact that we're staying under the green, I'll assume saw nothing there. Matt Kenseth 3rd. Sorry, Wally. Todd Bodine 4th. Mark Martin 5th. Just looking a little deeper into the running order. We've got Bobby Labonte, Jerry Nadeau, Mike Wallace, Sterling Marlin, and Kenny Wallace now making up the top 10.
I was just going to say, it'd be interesting to see where the debris came from, if it came from the 36 car. You know, if that call came. That's what, you know, when you're down a lap and you see the leaders coming, boy, you see all kinds of things on the racetrack hoping to get that yellow.
Hut Strickland's got some troubles, Marty.
Yeah, Alan, he's been on 7 cylinders for about 15 laps now, and he was joking around with the crew saying, I think it's getting ready to blow up, so they all stood up and waved goodbye ceremoniously to the engine, but looks like it is living at the moment. This is a Yates engine, just to mention that, but certainly on 7 cylinders, they're trying to diagnose the problem as to what it might be right now.
Well, Mike Wallace has moved out of line, trying to go towards the front.
And Ken Schrader, Wally, talking about looking for a caution because he's going to get lapped right here.
Oh, Bobby, Mark Martin pulled up right in front of Mike. Yeah, goodbye.
John Andretti slowing down. On his way, well, he went past the pit lane. Bill, what's wrong with Andretti?
Well, they really don't know, Alan, other than the fact his foot's to the floor and the car just keeps getting slower and slower and slower. He said he hasn't lifted or anything. It's just like the power was slowly seeping away. This was going to be hopefully a big weekend for the Petties. 2 cars qualifying in row 4, the 43 and the 45, but John lost his primary car in that final practice crash and now slowing around at the back of the pack, apparently losing power every lap.
And the dismal season for Petty Enterprises continues. If you were with us in our pre-race show, Bill documented well the struggles as they try and pick the pieces up and rebuild that once very proud program.
I think he's coming in. I can hear him downshifting right there.
So John headed toward the garage. Kyle is running 13th.
And here's Jerry Nadeau coming down pit road. Marty?
Yeah, Benny, he said, I think I've got a flat tire, and radioed in that he needed to come down and change all 4 tires on the car. Remember, in the first run, they kind of left the draft on purpose. We're hoping to come up front later on in the race, and they had such a great pit stop. They were up front. They just decided to see what the car could do. They will take on 4 tires. They will, again, make no adjustments. He's very happy with the chassis. This will put them off sequence and, unfortunately, out of the draft. It'll only be a 2-tire stop. Tony Ferg just called for that while they were over there. They thought it might be a left side tire or right side tire. They did not know, so they decided to make it a 2-tire stop, and they decided it was probably the right front tire that is indeed down on Jerry Nadeau's car.
Oh, Matt Kenseth ducking low there through the tri-oval. There's Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the 4 car this week. Winston Cup restrictor plate debut. By the way, Jerry Nadeau running 8th at the time of that unscheduled pit stop. Couple of Chevrolets, then 3 Fords, then a Pontiac and a Dodge.
I think you'll see some manufacturers gang up go here in a little bit, BP.
It looks to me like that Matt Kenseth and the 66 of Todd Bodine have tried a couple times to gang up and go by Junior and Michael Waltrip, but they're not having a lot of success doing that.
Looking back on Ricky Craven, last week's winner, running back in 30th place. Dave Burns.
And crew chief Mike Beam, a big part of that victory for Ricky Craven. In fact, Mike was a guy who, when he heard about Ricky and interviewed Ricky, it was the first time that he had ever really crossed paths with him. Never talked to him before. And he said, even though I knew Ricky had had injuries before, he said, I wasn't worried about him. I was going to let him prove himself as a driver. And at the beginning of this year, he ran well at Daytona, and then he ran great at Rockingham. And Mike said, I knew we had a driver. So last week when they won, for Mike Beam, it was his first win as a crew chief since the 1994 Southern 500 with Bill Elliott. A great day for Mike Beam and for Ricky Craven.
Talked with Ricky earlier this weekend about the psychological side of racing here at Talladega.
Oh, I think that it's an emotional race. There are times during the day where you're really upset with someone, and then there are times where you give somebody a thanks and wave your hand at them. The next lap you might be shaking your fist again. It's really an emotional race because it's not a physical race. The physical race was last week at Martinsville. This is a mental game here.
Yeah, I worked with Mike Beam a little bit. He was trying to help us with the 75 team towards the end of last year. Boy, he was really great to work with. Really knowledgeable, low-key, great with setups.
Jerry Nadeau's back in, Marty. I guess it wasn't a tire, huh?
Well, I would say not, Alan. And they diagnosed the problem, and it is a broken right front shock for Jerry Nadeau. And the shock mount on the bottom is actually what broke. And we'll show you the shock in just a second. But that was the problem for Jerry Nadeau. He was feeling a problem in the right front. It was the shock, not the tire.
86 laps complete, coming up on 250 miles here at Talladega. Michael Waltrip is your leader on NBC. I don't think Elvis is on that CD.
No, he's no banjos either.
But he is in the building. As we saw going to the commercial a minute ago, all kinds of people want to see NASCAR racing at the world's fastest speedway. And we're glad you're with us on NBC this afternoon as we bring you the EA Sports 500 from Talladega, presented by Dodge. Jeff Gordon, the championship leader, riding along in 19th place as you look at how the drivers in contention for the noble $5 million bonus are faring so far. That's the top 5 finishers from the Richmond race. If they win the race today, they get a $1 million bonus. A fan and a consumer promotion gets $1 million. Plus the top 5 finishers today qualify to race for the $1 million bonus at Las Vegas next March. Michael Waltrip has been out in front for some time now. Waltrip leading 37, make it 38 laps consecutively. So almost all the way since the last pit stop, he's been up front. Bobby Hamilton a moment ago pulled out of traffic and dropped way to the back. Bill, what's going on?
Temperatures rising on the 55. In fact, he said one of his temperature gauges was pegged and then fell back down to 2 1/4. So the crew talked it over with him on the radio, leaving him out there for maybe about 10 or 12 more laps because the temperature has come down a little bit. But the 55 car could be a possible victim of overheating here at Talladega.
I talked to Jimmy Elliott this morning, on the crew chief on the 55 car, and I noticed a piece of tape in the grill, the top grill on the left side. You see that? You can see it there, right above Carlo AR. And I said, why do you have it open on the bottom and that piece of tape on top? He said, well, I want that piece of tape on top to help the downforce on the left side of the car. And when I do that, I have to have more opening, so I go on the bottom and put the opening down there.
Going to have some green flag pit stops coming up after a few more laps, so let's take a break here and be back in time for them. Michael Waltrip's your leader.
Back at Talladega, the EA Sports 500 presented by Dodge. Dodge is the first one to hit pit road on this round of pit stops. It is Jason Leffler. They will make a 4-tire change and send Jason on his way. Fuel mileage for the Dodges has
got one on the wall on the backstretch. Todd Bodine has hit the wall hard on the backstretch. Elliott Sadler and Casey Atwood are in it. Caution's out. A hard crash for Todd Bodine. He was running 4th at the time. And the first yellow flag of the race waves as the field comes to the stripe. Harvick not able to get his lap back.
He was trying.
They're going to check the photo finish camera to be sure. Elliott Sadler and Casey Atwood's cars resting together after their involvement in the accident. Well, BP, no caution-free race. Boy, that's good to see. Look at the front-end damage to that car. Glad to see Todd Bodine out. See his Hans device there hooked up to the back of his helmet.
That was hard contact with the front, with the wall in front of the car. He's pretty spry walking across that racetrack.
You talked about it earlier, BP. Seem to have a lot of accidents on the straightaways here.
You know, that's when they really start jockeying. Let's see if we can find out what might have happened.
Bodine is top car on the left. Kevin Harvick.
Kevin Harvick gets in the back of the 66 car and just turns him right in the wall. And there we see the 19. I think the 19 and 21 had probably made contact back on the straightaway trying to slow down.
Yeah, I'm sure there's one guy was waving and one guy didn't get on the brakes quick enough, and they probably got in the back of each other. Let's see if we can see it. Can't grab it by that angle.
All right, all the cars are on pit road. Let's go to the pits.
Rusty Wallace and Jeff Burton pit together. Jeff Burton is tight. Air pressure adjustment for him. Rusty Wallace, no changes at all to the two cars. Both cars will take 4 tires. Bill.
Matt Kenseth on pit road. Will be 4 tires and fuel. A pound out of the right front, a pound in the right rear. Strong run for Kenseth here at Talladega. Marty?
Michael Waltrip, the leader, is here. He was tight before. They fixed the damage. He's loose now. They put a roundabout in. 4 tires for Michael. A little longer on the stop than they wanted. Dale Earnhardt Jr., his teammate, will beat him off pit road. 4 tires also for Jr. He was loose, and they made an air pressure adjustment. To Matt Yoakum.
The early Marlins team has already completed service. They went up 1 pound on the right front. Sterling said his car was a little loose going into turn 3. They were 1 lap away from pitting, actually, when that wreck happened, so they got a little bit of luck today.
Looked like a pretty long stop for Jeff Gordon's crew also. He spent some time sitting still on pit road.
And Jason Leopard didn't lose a lap. He got lucky on that deal. He got out before the leaders came and took the yellow flag.
Let's go back and take another look at the accident that put us under caution. This is Kevin Harvick's onboard view we're going to see.
Here they are coming off of turn 2. I don't get that one.
On board with the 14 car of Ron Hornaday, there we see the 66 just going to the right into the wall. And there you see the contact from our Budweiser blimp.
It's not an uncommon thing for people to bump each other like that on the straightaway, but
you got to bump them straight. You can't bump them as look. You can see he was at an angle when he hit him.
And it resulted in him crashing. Under caution here at Talladega.
NBC's coverage of the NASCAR EA Sports 500, presented by Dodge, is brought to you by Casey Atwood and the Dew Crew, fueled by Mountain Dew. By Sprint PCS, the clear alternative to cellular. By Pep Boys, all you need to know is where to go. Pep Boys. And by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge.
The remains of Todd Bodine's car being hauled back to the garage area. We're under caution for the first time today in the EA Sports 500 at Talladega, presented by Dodge. Ever wonder what it'd be like to take on Dale Earnhardt Jr. on the racetrack? Well, over 6,000 fans lined up for that opportunity here, and a chance to win $10,000 with his 46-second lap on EA Sports' new NASCAR Thunder video game. Chad Cook outlasted all to earn his race with Dale Jr., and in the one-on-one championship, Chad lived out the dream, defeating the NASCAR star and taking home the $10,000 grand prize.
That kid's a little rough on Dale.
Attaboy, Chad.
$10,000 right here.
And Junior thought he was good at those video games. Marty, go ahead.
Well, guys, I tell you, I wouldn't want to take on Dale Jr.'s crew on pit road because they're pretty ruthless here. They obviously just won the race off pit road. Here's a chart where they keep up with the times. Goal number 1 today, 14.57 on their stops. 14.65 was the last stop. Look at goal number 2. Get BP's money. How about that, Parsons? You may be paying out some money today. Those guys may be paying out a little cash this afternoon.
14.65 is not going to get it done. $12.99. They get 100 apiece, Mo, BP.
Todd Bodine has come from the Infield Care Center. Dave's with him.
Todd Bodine just walked out, hands his helmet and his Hans device away. Todd, tell us about the incident.
Don't really know. It was behind me. You know, I really like Kevin Harvick. He's a good kid. He's got a lot of talent. But that's the second time that idiot's done that to me. He did it to me at the Busch race at Daytona going in turn 1. I was running second, pulled him all the way up from the back. He ran into me, spun me out again there. Did the same thing here. You know, it's a shame. I tell you, this Kmart Blue Light Special was awesome. We know the car never qualifies good, but we know it races well, and that's the main thing here. And once I got to the front, it was just a matter of drafting, riding around, biding some time, just staying in the right position. I saw Kevin coming up on the outside, pulling that lane, and so, well, if I can get out here and lead a couple more laps, you know, maybe we can get some TV time. But I didn't count on him making a bonehead move. But you know, that's what happens here at Talladega. You know, the race is so close. If you get a good run on a guy to close the race so fast, it's really hard to judge sometimes. And evidently, he's not real good at judging it. But we'll be back next week.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. I think I'm fine. It's just a little upset.
Right. Yep, and he has reason to be, Alan.
If we get a look at it again, I don't understand it either, because Harvick had plenty of room. He got a run on the 66. Look at all the room to the right. If he had a run, I don't understand why he didn't turn to the right and just go by him.
And they were at the front of the pack, so they were fortunate that all the other cars were able to clear Todd to his inside without more than just Sadler and Atwood being caught up in it.
If that 66 car of Todd Bodine had glanced back off the wall across the racetrack in the path of all those other cars, it would have been the big one as we refer to. But, you know, Harvick, and Wally, you talked about this at the very top of the show. You've got to reach up on that closer rate. You've got to reach up with that left foot and slow the car down so that you don't run into the back of the other vehicle.
Yeah, if you know you're coming up real quick, what you do is you throw that right hand up and you start waving to the guy behind you, and you start using the brake a little bit. Just tell everybody behind you, hey, I got to back off here. I got to run on a guy. But there again, he had enough to run. He should have pulled to the right and just went by him.
Kevin Harvick penalized last week at Martinsville, a lap for rough driving after the incident with Bobby Hamilton. He's been involved in one today that's put Todd Bodine's car in the garage. We're under caution just past halfway here in Alabama.
Welcome back to Talladega, Alabama, the Talladega Superspeedway, and Richard Childress is the car owner for Kevin Harvick. And first off, Richard, what was Kevin's side of the story?
Well, he said, you know, just as he got ready to bump, draft bump the 66, he said the 14 hit him in the back a lot harder than he thought. 66 went to, move a little, and he said he just turned him. He hated it.
Now, Todd Bodine was not the only person who was a little upset about this incident. During Kevin Harvick's pit stop, let's go ahead and roll the pit stop tape. As Kevin is already in the car, here comes Larry Carter in. He's voicing his opinion to Kevin Harvick about what took place, and Larry Carter is Todd Bodine's crew chief as he exits the pit stop, but he did voice his opinion. Guys?
Wow. Looked like he kicked the left front tire changer, too.
Jason Leffler is the leader, second car back in line. Dave Blaney in the green machine. The BP car is on the tail end of the lead lap. Leffler made his stop under green, but stayed on the lead lap, then did not pit under the caution. Casey Atwood has come from the medical center. Dave Burns is with him.
And he walked out of there. Alan, first of all, Casey, you okay?
Yeah, we're okay.
All right. And what did it look like from your vantage point?
I really couldn't see what started everything. I seen smoke, and then everybody just bunched up, and I got in the back of somebody. And I don't know if somebody got in the back of me or not. We all just bunched up, and when you're three wide and everybody hits the brakes, there's not much room to go anywhere.
Looks like your guys are fixing your car. Do you want to get back out there with half a car?
It won't be very much fun, but you get as many points as you can. We were hoping for a good run. We were running a little bit hot on the water, so we have to run to the back, and then anytime I wanted to, I could really come back to the front. We had a pretty decent car, so we're looking for a good run for Dodge, but it won't be today.
All right, thanks, Casey. Elliott Sadler also walked from the infield care center. He is okay as well.
Well, it didn't take Dale Earnhardt Jr. long to retake the lead in the Bud car. Mark Martin, the 6, is following, and there's the 18 of Bobby Labonte and Michael Walker.
That Jeff Purvis has dropped out of the race with a rear end failure. We heard Richard Childress talk about Ron Hornaday getting into the back of Kevin Harvick and pushing him into Todd Bodine. Let's go take another look at the replay.
Here we are riding with the 14 car. I don't see it that way.
Didn't look like it.
He may have got into back him after he made contact with the 66, unless we, back that up a little bit, but it's not what it looked like. Either way, Todd Bodine is out of the race. Casey Atwood and Elliott Sadler are also in the garage with damaged cars.
Let's go to the blimp, where I think we get a better shot. There we see the...
He was already in the back of the 66.
I don't see any contact there between the 14 and the 29.
We had lots of cameras to cover it, though. Bobby Labonte took a run at Dale Earnhardt Jr. for the lead. Jr. fended him off. Here he comes again.
With Sterling Marlin, that 40 car. Normally on these racetracks, a very, very fast race car right behind Bobby Labonte.
Rusty Wallace up in there. Remember, this is a backup car. He was involved in the big crash in final practice. Mark Martin, Jeff Burton, Michael Waltrip, Ward Burton, Bobby Hamilton Jr. all mixing it up at the front.
And last lap, over 188 mile per hour average, side by side.
Our U.S. Army Skycam shows us the Talladega Superspeedway, an army of one. There are 212 ways to be a soldier. Find out more at GoArmy.com. Dave Burns.
Alan, Ron Hornaday was part of the discussion around this last incident, so we'll just ask him. Ron, did you have any contact with Kevin Harvick or anybody else with that incident?
Well, all the way up till the crash, yeah. I bumped drafted Kevin up to the front, and the 66 jumped in front of us. And I don't know if Kevin just wanted to give him a little tap to get us going, because it seemed to work when I was pushing Kevin. And it just got him at the wrong time. The 66 was coming down, and the other car came up. He went to turn right, and Kevin hit up the wrong time. And I don't know if it's just the way the Ford was, the back end or whatever. But he lifted him up. But, no, our problem is rookie here overshot the pits and put it in reverse, and I jumped off the clutch real hard and snapped something in the transmission. So, got to thank all these guys at Conseco Pontiac. These guys really put a good car together, and they did qualify all that well, but we know what we got to do next time we come back to these super speedways.
You brought a Chevy this time. You're going to bring a Chevy back next time?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
You brought a Chevy, Ron. You're going to bring a Chevy next time, or you're going to go back to the Pontiac?
Well, last time I called, that's AJ's call, but the way she was looking and really sucking up there, I'm real happy with what this thing did today.
All right, he had a good run going. They'll try to get him back out there when they repair that transmission, guys.
Hornaday, Todd Bodine, Elliott Sadler, Casey Atwood, Jeff Purvis, and Jimmy Spencer. The cars that are off the racetrack. Spencer out after just 18 laps with an engine failure. What a hornet's nest this is up front.
That's Kenny Wallace, that one car. There's another car we haven't heard too much of today. And there he is. Kenny Wallace right now is running fourth. Last time by the start-finish line, he was 10th. So he made a move on somebody.
3 Dale Earnhardt Incorporated cars in those first 3 rows. Dale Jr., Kenny Wallace, and Michael Waltrip, all in the top 6 spots. Their program on these super speedways this year has been impressive, Marty.
Well, Alan, that is exactly the truth. Their cars are impressive, and perhaps their engines are even more impressive. And after Daytona, they actually were not happy with the engine performance. What would happen is when someone got behind their cars, they would turn too many RPMs. They would force the car to run too fast. So what they did is they worked 3 guys 6 days a week, full-time, non-stop since Daytona, in making these engines even better. Today, these engines can turn 7,600 RPM. I cannot express to you what a monumental leap in restrictor plate engine program racing that is, and these are by far the most durable and the biggest engines in the business today, because they can turn so many RPMs and live for so long.
Close call in the tri-oval. Jeff Burton.
He was underneath that yellow line, but he did not improve his position. If he had gone ahead and made that pass, then he would have been black flagged. But he saw that he was wrong. He backed up and fell back to the position he was in beforehand.
Troubles for Ward Burton. He's slowing down. He had been up in this lead group just a minute ago. Pick out your favorite, with the exception of those few we talked about a minute ago that are in the garage area. They're all right there in the big pack. 30 cars out of the 43 starters are on the lead lap. Dale Jarrett, Tony Stewart continue to be the last two on the lead lap, using that ride out in the back strategy. Bill, what's going on with Ward Burton?
They don't know. He hasn't said a word about it, just pulled out a line, dropped to the back. So until we hear from Ward, we'll just assume that he wanted to watch the race for a while instead of be part of it.
All right, he's back in 28th place. Again, out of 30 that are on the lead lap.
My guess is he saw something he didn't like and said, the safest place is back at the end of this line. That's where I'm going.
See Bill Elliott's back there with him. Terry Labonte, Kyle Petty. And there is the gap up to the head of the line.
Problem is, that's not nearly far enough to the back. You're going to miss the wreck.
Matt Kenseth, Jeff Gordon. This is 8th place. About to complete the 300-mile mark of this EA Sports 500 on NBC. The 2 2/3 mile Talladega Superspeedway in Central Alabama, home of NASCAR on NBC. Today it's the EA Sports 500 presented by Dodge. You look down on this massive track from the Budweiser.com airship. Brought to you by Budweiser, the official beer of NASCAR. Enjoy, race fans. The 160,000 here today have been treated to a thrilling race as we look at our Napa Field summary. 11 different drivers have changed the lead 16 times. Only the one caution flag. The lap 96 incident when Kevin Harvick bumped Todd Bodine and Todd crashed, taking Casey Atwood and Elliott Sadler with him. That's been the only slowdown in the event so far, leading to a very brisk average speed of better than 171 miles an hour. Cars out of the race. Jimmy Spencer, an early engine failure. Jeff Purvis lost the rear end in his machine. And then Todd Bodine due to the crash. The others who are in the garage, Ron Hornaday, Elliott Sadler, and Casey Atwood. Their teams continue to work on their machines and hope to get them back out on track. Race for the championship. Jeff Gordon running along in 13th place. Ricky Rudd is in 19th. Here's Gordon. And by the way, Larry Carter, Todd Bodine's crew chief that we saw the video of on the Kevin Harvick pit stop, he has been summoned to the big red trailer. No surprise there.
Well, they had too many men over the wall in that pit stop.
Well, that's right. Yeah, one of them was wearing a red shirt instead of a black one. Oh, we saw Ward Burton dropping back into the field a few minutes ago. Bill, what's going on with him?
Well, apparently he just was very disappointed with the way his car was handling at that moment. Decided to drop back, and 3 or 4 laps later, when he finally caught his breath, he did get on the radio and said, whatever that change was, don't ever do it again. They just changed air pressure, but obviously for a moment there, Ward unhappy, but now seems to be back up to speed and chasing the win here at Talladega.
Did Junior just push Bobby out of the way?
Just about. Bobby had to chase that one all the way up the hill to catch it.
I think Junior was having a lot of fun pushing Bobby down the backstretch, but I think he probably pushed a little bit too far going into turn 3. Mike Wallace is on the outside trying to take the third spot away from his brother, Kenny Wallace.
97 car of Kurt Busch is in there as well, but he's not on the lead lap. He got hung up on pit road earlier with Kevin Harvick. Lost a circuit to the leaders. While we watch Bobby Labonte lead for Joe Gibbs Racing, let's get more on their day from Dave Burns.
Well, Alan, we heard earlier that Joe Gibbs Racing teammate Tony Stewart was running at the back and would continue to run at the back throughout the day. Bobby Labonte knows that strategy. They've done this before in restrictor plate races, but he radioed in and said the car is so good, I'm going to race it. I'm going to stay up front as long as I can and race this thing. It's the oldest car in their shop, and even though he's getting a challenge right now from Mike Wallace, the 18 car is one that Bobby Labonte wants to keep up front all day. They made a pressure adjustment for a tight condition last time he came in.
Mike Wallace started in 38th place in that 12 car.
And the 18 of Bobby Labonte started 34th. So, as I said during the qualifying show here at Talladega, it really doesn't matter too much where you start.
Yeah, that 8 car is strong in the straightaway.
I don't know if he's been farther back than 3rd or 4th place since he got up there after the first few laps of the event.
I mean, he's just laying a bumper to Bobby on the straightaway, just pushing him down the straightaways.
And, of course, lined up right behind him, his teammates, Kenny Wallace and Michael Waltrip. Robbie Gordon getting a little antsy, looking to the outside. 31 car.
Well, Buckshot just all of a sudden had to dive to the outside. I know someone got in the back of him, and he felt like he was going to run in the back of someone, but the 44 car of Buckshot just suddenly veered to the right.
Here comes Robbie Gordon getting the lap car. Kurt Busch out from in front of him. Bobby Hamilton pushing him through.
Mike Wallace in the middle, that middle row is not going anywhere right now, Mike.
Well, it just feels like all of a sudden the intensity just notched up a little bit. They've run along fairly calmly for the longest time, and all of a sudden the pack is accordioned together again, and here it goes. And we've still got a long way to go.
Getting a little impatient. Yeah, want to go racing.
Michael Waltrip. Spent some time with Michael here on Friday. Obviously, he's had his only success of this 2001 season on the restrictor plate tracks with a win in the Daytona 500 and a second place finish in the Pepsi 400 at Daytona. With all that's been swirling around and about him, rumors of his perhaps demise with that team, which have, by the way, been denied by team management. Michael said, I'd sure like to have a great run, maybe win another race on Sunday. Put a lot of that to rest.
I was just going to say, Bobby Hamilton is getting ready to dump Robbie Gordon, and that's exactly how you do it. You swing up to the high side, and you get 3 or 4 cars to go with you. When you're in the middle, Robbie's going to go backwards now.
And that was his son, Bobby Hamilton Jr. in the Kodak car, who was going with him, but
Dad kind of dumped him, didn't he?
He kind of lost track.
He moved down in front of the 31 car off Robbie Gordon.
There's a look at the Robert Yates Racing teammates, Ricky Rudd and Dale Jarrett. Matt Yoakum has a report on them for us.
Ricky Rudd has never won a race at Talladega. His best finish here is 3rd 3 times, Alan. He's trying to get back in line as far as the title chase goes as well. But currently, Ricky is telling his team that his car just does not turn right. He says he can't hold it down in the middle of the corner in that middle to bottom groove without having to crack the throttle. So they told him just to try to high line. And that's what he's been doing with the past 25 laps or so, riding in the middle to high line. They even asked the 88 team, are they experiencing anything like that? They said no. And meanwhile, Dale Jarrett says his car is running very well. No changes on their last stop as well.
Well, Ron Hornaday, we talked to him just a moment ago, and they were replacing the transmission in the Conseco Chevrolet. He's back on the racetrack now with a new transmission.
Mike Wallace up in that outside lane, jumping up in front of Bobby Hamilton. Hamilton had a strong, strong car in yesterday's final practice. He fell back earlier. Bill, he's picking his way back to the front.
And we're with his crew chief, Jimmy Yelich. How's your car and how's that overheating situation?
Well, the car's really good. You know, we had a set of tires there at the beginning. It was a little bit free on the entry, and we got that taken care of. And we got the thing too hot. You know, we were tucked up behind Harvick there, and the temperature got real hot, so we backed off there and let the thing cool down, and got that caution. And just for safety reasons, we just felt like we'd go ahead and just run some water through it just to make sure that we didn't push any water out of it. You know, since my father builds engines, he's probably hollering at the TV right about now saying you have too damn much tape on the thing. So we took a little bit of tape off too for you, Dad. So
Benny was yelling at you too about that, just so you know.
You know, it's always a heated discussion at the dinner table. You know, he wants his motors to run cool, and I'm trying to make the cars run fast. And I'm sure our motor guy said the same thing, but everything's fine. I mean, the car's good. We're just playing chess at 200 miles an hour. Alan?
Rook to night 3.
His
or whatever
dad,
those chess moves are.
His dad is Terry Oates, the chief engine builder up at Bill Davis Racing for Ward Burton and Dave Blaney.
And that's a trade-off we've talked about in other shows, is that you put more tape on these cars, they're better aerodynamically. They will go faster and they'll handle better with more tape. But the trade-off is that's not enough air to the engine, so you'll run higher temperature. So there's a real close balance you have to work with there.
62 laps to go at Talladega. Bobby Labonte is the leader. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Cars are on the lead lap in the EA Sports 500 at Talladega, presented by Dodge. NASCAR on NBC with race 31 of the 2001 season. Bobby Labonte is the leader. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is second. Bobby Hamilton is third. They're side by side from fourth on back. Kenny and Mike Wallace there leading that parade of cars.
Mike Wallace has helped Bobby Hamilton in the 55 car move into the third spot, and Hamilton looks like he's going to stay up there and try to help Mike Wallace go with it.
Bobby Hamilton continuing to march forward in that outside lane. He was way at the back of the field at one point with the overheating problem we talked about earlier. You know how sometimes you can't trust those crew chiefs to tell you the truth.
All right, here we go. Hamilton goes blowing by Earnhardt. Moves into the second spot. Can he and Mike Wallace get by the 18 car?
I guess one thing that Jimmy Elledge was not kidding about is that his car is very good.
Well, look at yesterday happy hour. He went from the back to the front. He was in every single lane.
New leader, Bobby Hamilton.
If he can just make it around to the line.
Caution, there's debris on the racetrack. They're coming to the yellow flag. Second one of the race.
Oh, Round's caution is out. Debris somewhere.
And they'll race back to this yellow. There it is. Piece of metal or something off one of the cars.
Well, that's below the out of bounds.
Somebody might have hit it from where it
could
originally landed on the racetrack and knocked it down. Just off of turn 2, that is.
I reckon they'll never get in line to figure out what position they're going to make their pit stops. Probably not.
Oh, they'll come down pit road 2 or 3 wide.
Oh, exactly.
Now, pit stops will be with 57 laps to go. That'll make things interesting.
With how many? 67?
57.
57.
Yeah.
Some cars can make it.
Yeah.
And a lot can't.
Yeah, you are right. So, would you stay out an extra lap or two? Come in right at the end? Get fuel?
You know what that was? That was that lower molding they use on the bottom of the front air dams on the cars.
Yeah.
Yep. The lower front air dam skirt is now missing from half of somebody's car.
And that will make that car not handle too well.
And that was in the tri-oval, by the way.
Okay.
That was out here on the front side. So, that was the correct piece of debris for the caution.
We had the wrong debris.
Road is open. 2 tires at 4. Got to get it full of fuel.
I think that if you've got to stop again, you'll change 4 tires. If you're going to make it the rest of the way, you'll probably change 4 tires. So I expect to see most cars change 4 tires.
Critical pit stops, Dave Burns.
And, of course, giving up second place now is Mike Wallace. They remove tearaway to give Mike better vision. He needs all he can get. Running up front as he has been all day. They're going to change 4 tires, get fuel, and send him on his way. Bill.
Well, Bobby Hamilton is in. They'll tear away their windshield plastic coating and give him 4 tires and fuel. They'll be very close on getting to the end, Marty.
Jeff Gordon trying to make it 6 straight years with a restrictor plate win. They are a little bit loose, but better than they've been all day long. Half a round of wedge into the left side. This will put them 1 lap short of being able to make it all the way on fuel. They'll need some help with some cautions. To Matt Yoakum.
No adjustments for Sterling Marlin. Just 4 tires, and they pack the fuel stuff full of fuel, but Sterling will have to stop again. Lee McCall told me they are 6 laps shy from their estimates of making it to the distance.
So 4 tires to the top off of the fuel tank, but if the caution doesn't wave again, some people are going to not have enough gasoline to get to the checkers. Back at Talladega, still under caution. Here's our NASCAR Busch Series update. Kevin Harvick leading Jeff Green and Jason Keller in the championship. 4 races to go. Phoenix next Saturday. You'll see it on TNT. Craftsman Truck Series update. What a championship race they've got going. 108 points between the top 3. Only 200 to 5th place Ted Musgrave. And 2 races remaining in the Truck Series season. Back to Talladega after this. Back at Talladega Superspeedway, getting ready to go back racing in the AA Sports 500 on NBC, presented by Dodge. A round of pit stops brings Dale Earnhardt Jr. back to the point, but people's ability to make it to the checkered flag on the fuel they just took on is very much in question.
And there's going to be several cars that can make it the rest of the way and several that can't. So the guys that can't, they really need another caution flag to get that extra fuel.
And the guys that can are going to wait the last second to come in. Right before they go green, they'll come down pit lane and top it off and get every drop of fuel in it.
Well, we're already on the 1-to-go signal, so that opportunity's gone.
Got it.
Dale Jarrett stayed out for a couple extra laps to lead and collect 5 bonus points, then topped off his fuel, so he's got a couple more laps, caution flag laps of gas than everybody else. But
the Jack Roush cars, and again, the guys in pits during the commercial break said they believe that the Jack Roush cars, the 6, 17, 99, can make it. What about it, guys? Are they still saying, can they make it, Marty?
Well, the 17, Benny told me they can make it all the way on fuel. I talked to Dale Earnhardt Jr. They're just close enough where they will not take a risk as of right now going all the way on fuel, but his teammate Michael Waltrip will take that chance of taking the risk to go all the way on fuel. To Bill Weber.
Well, talking about DEI, let's start with the 1 car. They say they can make it. They will go for it and try and reach the finish. The 55 of Bobby Hamilton cannot make it, but the 6 car of Mark Martin can. The green is back out, guys.
Mike Wallace has been great on restarts since getting into that 12 car. He jumps to the outside of Bobby Labonte back there for 4th.
But Mike Wallace is on the outside, but he has no one to go with him. And we see Jeff Gordon pulls up behind Bobby Labonte and leaves Mike Wallace, a 12 car, in the dust. But now Kenny Wallace, his brother, the 1 car, pulls up behind the 12. That will help his progress.
53 laps to go. Dale Earnhardt Jr. leads. Bobby Hamilton is second. The 97 and 29 cars are not on the lead lap. Harvick and Busch are in 31st and 32nd. The first car is 1 lap down. Also in that mix among those cars, Jerry Nadeau in the 25. He is in 36th place, 4 laps down, after they had a broken shock earlier in the race. Jeff Gordon for 3rd, make it 4th spot on Mike Wallace. Different drivers have led today. Jeff Gordon is not one of them. Let's finish our discussion of pit strategy and who can make it and who can't. Dave Burns, how about your end?
The 18 car of Bobby Labonte, the lap before the caution came out, they reached their pit window, so they are good to go. Guess which other window they caught? the left front tire with a hole in it window. They found that out after he came on pit road, so they were really glad they got that caution. As for the 12th car of Mike Wallace, he can make it all the way as well. Matt?
Dale Jarrett did not pit with the leaders. He waited one extra lap so he could lead a lap, and then he came back in, took on 4 tires, and fuel. His crew chief, Todd Parrott, said he feels like they can go the distance, but he told his driver to go in the fuel conservation mode. It will be close. Meanwhile, Johnny Benson, they are very iffy if they can go. They are minus or plus 1 lap or 2 laps, but they did come back in, put a piece of tape on the grill, and put some more water in that 10 car, and topped it off with fuel just in case. Alan?
So it appears that a lot of the cars think they can make it. The one notable who can't right now is the second-place runner, Bobby Hamilton.
You know, but what's going to happen is with a lap or 2 to go, when these cars are really closed up and bumper to bumper, somebody's going to run out of gasoline.
And that's when you're going to have a big, big problem. And all of this, of course, if we get no caution flag between here and the finish.
We got 3 Wallace brothers running right together. The 1, Kenny Wallace. The 2, Rusty Wallace. And the 12, Mike Wallace.
Rusty's still in the hunt for that $1 million bonus. This is from Michael Waltrip's car. Hey, that Napa machine has been strong all day, too. Outside for the lead, Bobby Hamilton on Dale Jr.
Sitting here right where he really needs to be sitting to try to get a lap back, but I'll guarantee you those cars behind him are probably yelling to their spotters they'd rather him not be there.
Hamilton with a half of the nose out in front at the start-finish line leads that lap.
By 3/100ths of a second he led that lap.
Marty still working on that fuel calculation down in Dale Jr.'s pit.
They are still working, Alan, and here's the quandary for Dale Earnhardt Jr. His car is best when it's out front, but when he's out front, they turn more RPMs. The more RPMs he turns, the more fuel he uses, and the less likely it is they can make it all the way. But they are definitely going to try and go all the way. That is Jeff Clark, the engine man for Dale Earnhardt Jr. They are calculating and recalculating. They are going to go for it, but they still come up that they will be 1 lap short.
Alan, you'd have a hard time down there.
I don't know where you guys come up with this thing about me having a hard time with math.
We'd be running out of gas.
Yeah,
5 laps.
5 laps to go, yes, sir.
You'd be lucky to make it to the finish because you'd hit something by then.
Yeah.
Did you see?
Right. The way you drove at the go-kart track last night, you would.
Did you see Michael Waltrip, as soon as he had the chance, dive in behind his teammate, Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 8 car? These 2 guys are going to try and do exactly what they did in the Pepsi 400 in Daytona.
I was thinking that was kind of a quandary for Michael when he got up there behind Hamilton and was pushing him up to the side of Junior.
There's the 7 car, Kevin LePage. He's back in the 15th position.
Earnhardt Jr. and Rusty Wallace, 2 of the 5 drivers eligible for the $1 million bonus, running in the first 4 positions. 5-story tall banking here at Talladega.
That blue car on the outside, I think that's Buckshot Jones.
Kind of had his hands full and held up that line, didn't he?
Yes, he did. And Junior able to get away from these guys. Whoop, here they come. Sorry about that, Junior. Early call on you.
They're going to run like this all the way to the finish. More drama to come from Talladega. Don't go away. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is your leader.
NBC's coverage of the NASCAR EA Sports 500, presented by Dodge, is brought to you by NASCAR Thunder 2002. EA Sports, it's in the game. By Dodge, you can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. By Stacker 2. the world's strongest fat burner. Burn fat, crush cravings, and supercharge your energy. And by Goodyear, reminding you to take all your journeys on the wings of Goodyear.
Coming up on the 400-mile mark of the EA Sports 500 from Talladega on NBC, presented by Dodge. 30 cars are on the lead lap. They're all in the pack. Right there. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Bobby Labonte, Michael Waltrip. They've been the three dominant drivers of this race. Earnhardt Jr. has led the most laps. Michael Waltrip second most.
Talking about 30 cars being on the lead lap. That is the lead, the 8 car, the red car, Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 55, Bobby Hamilton, and the 88 car, Dale Jarrett, is 30th. He is 3 seconds behind these leaders, which now is the 8 car of Dale Earnhardt Jr.
It's probably easier for me to tell you who's not on the lead lap than who is, because as you see the pack, they're racing for those. Wow, look at that. What happened to Michael Waltrip? How did Junior get away like that?
Michael looks like he's been trying to get down. He's got underneath that yellow line twice. I don't know why. Looks like he's running fine, though.
Maybe just laying back to try to get a run and do this to see how good his car is. But Hamilton moves over and blocks that move.
Waltrip looks to the outside. There's our Williams race chase. Earnhardt back to 30th place, Dale Jarrett. And that 3-second gap Benny was telling you about.
Now the Wallace brothers there, and the Rusty Wallace in the 2, Mike Wallace in the 12, trying to take over the 3rd spot.
So, of the 43 who are in the race, Todd Bodine, Elliott Sadler, Casey Atwood, they're all out after a lap 95 accident. Jeff Purvis had a rear end failure at lap 86. Jimmy Spencer an engine failure at lap 18. Those are the only cars off the track. Not on the lead lap. Kevin Harvick, Kurt Busch, Dave Blaney, and Ken Schrader are 1 lap down. 4 laps down are Jerry Nadeau and John Andretti. Hut Strickland is 7 laps down. Ron Hornaday is 25 laps down. If I did not mention your favorite driver's name there, he's on the lead lap and in that pack.
Well, the Wallace brothers have finally gotten by these cars, and here comes the other brother, Kenny Wallace.
4 wide. Stacy Compton on the outside, Ricky Rudd, Bobby Hamilton in the middle, Bobby Labonte down low. Sterling Marlin running 9th.
Kenny Wallace's car didn't look too good in that corner, did it, Wally?
No, it did not.
In fact, it was a handful.
Only 2 cautions in the race so far. A crash at lap 95 that I mentioned a minute ago, and a debris caution at lap 131. It's been a very clean race so far, but the tension is building as we close in on the finish. 40 laps to go. At Talladega, we're under caution in the EA Sports 500. 3rd one of the day, and it happened off of turn 4 just moments ago, involving Jerry Nadeau.
All by himself. 1-car accident. He was back. He was 4 laps down. There you see him start. The car all by himself, just around it goes. He spins down to the bottom of the racetrack, and we did hear radio communication between himself and Tony Furr, and he said something broke.
Yeah, when a car turn like that here at Talladega, it's very unusual unless something breaks. Or watch up there on the right-hand side. That car just turned sideways. Whoa. Yikes.
Ron Hornaday, close call there. Now, Nadeau's car, he tried to drive it back in. It's come to rest in the center of pit road, so the pit lane is closed. We'll take a break while they clear that car away and come back for the pit stops after this.
I'll come in, I'd stay out. I mean, do you want me to stay?
I think that's what everyone... I think every one of them's going to stay on the racetrack. I don't think anybody's going to pit. It's coming down to crunch time back at Talladega.
Listening to Michael Waltrip's radio traffic, discussions between he and crew chief Slugger Labby. Pit road is open. Who's coming in? Who's staying out? Michael is 5th in line.
You want me to stay out, right? Yeah, 10-4.
And he's going to stay on the track. Dave Burns.
And the 2-car of Rusty Wallace will come in. Crew Chief Robert Pemberton radioed to him. Our fuel mileage is getting worse every time. It's too close to risk, Rusty. Rusty will go on his call. No tires, fuel only for the 2-car. Matt?
Sterling Marlin only needs 3.5 gallons. Jerry Schweitz has got the can in. And Sterling pulls away to Bill.
This saves Bobby Hamilton. He would have been 3 laps short on fuel. Marty?
Junior's already gone. He only got 1 gallon of fuel, 1 second on pit road. That's all they needed. To Bill Weber.
Getting 4 tires for Bobby Hamilton and a track bar adjustment to free him up just a little. He'll be at the pack, but they think this car and this strategy is good enough to sweep Talladega.
Well, most everybody just took a splash of fuel. Hamilton got tires. Jeff Gordon got tires.
Well, Jeff Gordon got tires because he needed them. 334-point lead. He cannot take any chances with just a few laps to go for the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship.
Michael Waltrip, Ricky Rudd, Ward Burton, Kevin LePage, Robbie Gordon, Jeff Burton, Kenny Wallace, they all stayed on the track. A couple of more as well. Let's see, Robert Presley, Bobby Hamilton Jr., Mark Martin, Matt Kenseth, and Dale Jarrett all stayed out and did not pit under this caution. Back for the restart after this. .35 laps to go in the EA Sports 500 from Talladega, presented by Dodge. It's going to be a dramatic finish to this one, and then we pick up and head off to the Valley of the Sun. Next weekend, our NASCAR action starts on Friday with Bud Pole qualifying at 4:30 Eastern Time on CNN Sports Illustrated. Next Saturday, it's the Outback Steakhouse 200 from Phoenix for the NASCAR Busch Series at 3 Eastern Time, followed immediately by coverage of Winston Cup final practice. Then next Sunday, NASCAR Winston Cup racing from the Phoenix Mile at 2 Eastern Time on NBC. There'll be 5 races to go in the season, and that's always a good one.
Very good racing.
We'll look forward to that one next Sunday. We're still not ready for the restart here, so let's take another break and come back for more. Budweiser.com Airship is with us today at Talladega, reminding all race fans that Budweiser is NASCAR's official beer. 33 laps to go, green flag. Michael Waltrip is the leader.
This is where it gets touchy. Normally in the past, the closer we have restarts towards the end of the race, that's normally when we have trouble. That's when the big wrecks happen, so hopefully we can keep it clean.
30 cars on the lead lap. Bobby Hamilton and Jeff Gordon, who took tires on that caution, are restarting in 21st and 22nd positions. The top 12 did not stop. First one on the line, Robbie Gordon, going after Kevin LePage for 5th.
Not working too good.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. back in 13th on the restart. He was the leader to the caution.
Wally, there's a lot of drivers that would than where they are right now.
Some of those guys right there stuck in the center would rather be up front. While we watch this frantic action, what about the decision to leave Mike? Marty Snyder's with his crew chief.
I asked Slugger Labby, actually his crew chief, why did you not pit? He said, hey, 2 reasons. One, we can make it all the way on fuel. And secondly, the car is running hot. If the car's out front, it'll cool the engine a little better, so we really had an overheating problem. And I also asked him, are you nervous? He said, absolutely, I'm nervous. I've never won a Winston Cup race. Would you be nervous? To Matt Yoakum.
Marty, Robert Yates made the call to keep both his race cars out. The 28 crew chief Michael Fatback McSwain told me they can go to lap 189, no problem, which is one lap past the checkered flag, and the 88 car stayed out as well. Both are confident they can go the distance, and hopefully one can go to victory lane.
That 8-car junior just got in the back of Mark Martin there, a little bit again. I'll tell you, that was a heck of a save through the tri-oval.
All it takes is one slip, one mistake, and there'll be 15 cars in the big wreck. The tension is getting thick.
And especially back there where Junior, Bobby Hamilton, Rusty Wallace, all those cars are.
Jeff Gordon, right in the middle of all that, the championship leader. He's back in 19th.
Look at Junior go. Look at that 8-car just blow by cars.
He's been the strongest all day. He's led the most laps in the race. Oh, contact there with Robbie Gordon. Robbie tried to jump up in front of him.
Yep. He tried blocking that move, so Junior wouldn't put him in the middle.
Kevin LePage, Jeff Burton there, side by side. That's for 5th. On board, Dale Jr. Remember this 97 car, Kurt Busch is not on the lead lap. He's back in 31st. The 93 car, Dave Blaney, is not on the lead lap, nor is the 25 of Jerry Nadeau, who's getting down out of the way.
Junior just turns left, coming off turn 2, and goes by the 97 car. Now which car is he going to choose? The 97, 99, or the 7?
Or will he go 3 wide by himself?
Doesn't look like he needs much help when he wants to pass somebody.
Junior has decided to go with Jeff Burton, and it looks like
2 by 2.
I started to say it was a wise decision, but the 7 car, LePage, is still right there.
Marty Snyder.
Boy, guys, this looks a lot like the Pepsi 400 from Daytona. Remember, at the end of that race, Junior restarted 6th with 6 laps to go. Today, he restarted 13th with many more laps than that to work with, and it looks like he's headed back to the front again.
He's got a long way to go. 28 laps, that's a long way here at Talladega.
Right on the back bumper of Jeff Burton.
Here they come, outside of Ricky Rudd for 2nd. Dale Jr. on a $1 million ride toward the front. Remember, he's one of the 5 drivers that can take the Noble 5 bonus. Jeff Burton to the lead, Dale Jr. to 2nd.
And they just blew by Michael Walker.
Michael waving his hand at Ricky Rudd for. Michael Waltrip was waving his hand inside the car when Ricky Rudd ducked to his outside.
I thought maybe he was saying, come on, hook up with me, but he's losing spots. He's on the bottom of the racetrack. It looks like Michael Waltrip has a problem.
He's not coming to pit road.
You ain't missed it? Man, what a tough break.
Said might be a red limiter going bad, is what he said. Tough break for Michael. He's fallen back into the field. Jeff Burton is the leader. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is 2nd. 26 laps to go in the EA Sports 500 from Talladega on NBC. Bobby Hamilton has just taken the lead in the EA Sports 500 at Talladega, presented by Dodge. Not going to be the last lead change we see, the way this thing's shaping up in the final laps. 30 cars on the lead lap. They're all in a big bunch. A couple of lap cars mixed in.
The guy that helped him get there is 29 car of Kevin Harvick, who they had a little contact last week and some words at Martinsville. But like they said earlier, you got to put that behind you. When you strap in a race car, it's a new day, it's a new race, especially when you come to a place like Talladega, where you really even can't think about paybacks or anything like that.
22 laps to go, Wally. You got a couple of lap cars up there at the front of the pack. Harvick in the 29, Kurt Busch in the 97, in among the leaders.
Well, if I'm on the lead lap, I'm screaming, wanting them guys to get out of there so we can go racing. But if I'm a lap down, I gotta stay there in case yellow comes out so I can get my lap back.
Well, I think those guys have every reason, every right to be there until about 10 laps to go. They should stay there.
And I agree with you, Benny. At 10 laps to go, they should get out of there and let those guys race.
Earnhardt Jr. rides Hamilton up off the bottom lane, back out front. His teammate Kenny Wallace is pushing him. Last year, Kenny Wallace pushed Dale Earnhardt Sr. to his 10th victory here at Talladega in a frantic dash over the final miles.
In the car that he's right next to, the 55 car.
Yeah, Kenny Wallace was driving that 55 last year. Jeff Gordon hanging in there. There's the scoring serial on Junior. He took the green flag 13th on that restart.
Here goes Hamilton back on the outside. It really is amazing how the inside-outside line all of a sudden seems like one of them is an advantage.
Checking the race for the championship. 6 races to go, including today's. Jeff Gordon and Ricky Rudd. Gordon running 7th. Rudd shuffled back to 18th. He was 2nd on the restart.
2-0. 20 laps to go. Bill Weber, why are they saying down in the Bobby Hamilton pits?
Last thing they said to him, Benny, was, take it easy, cowboy, be smart. On Tuesday at the shop, the 55 team didn't know if they should be mad, frustrated, disappointed, or happy after what happened at Martinsville on Monday. They thought they had a car that could win the race, and then it got taken away from them. So they came in here knowing what they did at Talladega in April, not only to win this race, but to get back the one that was taken from them last Monday. They desperately want to go to victory lane today after what happened at Martinsville.
Look at Rusty Wallace riding the rim. 4 wide back there.
And I tell you what, Rusty Wallace went in turn 3 that time on the outside, 4 wide. And here he still comes on 3 deep on the outside.
He's still not too far back to win it.
And he's got an awfully good car in Robbie Gordon with him, the 31 car.
Mike Wallace pushing up through the center. Kenny Wallace trying to decide if he stays in front of Jeff Burton. He doesn't. Burton shuffles Kenny Wallace away. Johnny Benson comes through the 3rd. Here comes Tony Stewart, who's been hanging around the back all day. Michael Waltrip leading the race moments ago. He's on pit road now, Marty.
And remember, we told you that's one of the reasons he stayed out, Alan, was because the car was overheating, and that eventually looks like what will do in Michael Waltrip today, an overheated and cooked engine as he sits on pit road.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. to the lead. Bobby Hamilton shuffled back a couple of car lengths to the outside. Less than 50 miles to go. Tony Stewart and Bobby Labonte tag teaming their way. The Joe Gibbs Racing teammates up that inside line of cars.
Now, this is about the time of the race here where you start getting your spotter to start working and finding guys that will work with you for the end of the race. Now is when you're starting to look for your dancing partner, so to speak. Say, let's stick together and go to the front.
They're pushing Michael Waltrip's car behind the wall. Here's Dave Lane. How about those Joe Gibbs cars, Dave?
Tony Stewart finished second in the spring here, so that strategy does work. I checked with Greg Zipadelli's crew chief. They changed 4 tires on this last stop and did put fuel in it, and he said the car was very well balanced all day long. As he said before, Tony was just hanging back and waiting until now to race, and he thinks he has a car that can win.
Looks like Junior's going to be awfully hard to beat.
Matt Kenseth, Bobby Hamilton. This is for 4th. Looking back from Johnny Benson's car. This is a brand new race car that Johnny Benson's team brought here. Qualified far better than they thought. Started in 4th position, dropped back early in the race. It's go time now. Matt Yoakum.
I spoke with James Ince, Johnny Benson's crew chief. I said, why'd you take on 4 tires? He says, well, when you look at our history, we lost the Daytona 500 in 1999 because we took on no tires. We lost the Pepsi 400 at Daytona last year because we took on 2 tires. We were not going to take a chance, so we took 4 tires. And this is a brand new race car. What a way to christen it if Johnny could pick up his first win.
4 times so far this season, a driver has scored his first NASCAR Winston Cup win. Michael Waltrip, Kevin Harvick, Elliott Sadler, and last week at Martinsville, Ricky Craven. Benson runs 3rd.
Stewart was trying everything he can. As soon as he clears that 55, I wouldn't be surprised to see him move up to that top lane. He tried crowding the 55 off the bottom lane there. He tried moving up on the 55, but he wasn't having any of it.
It's kind of boxed in. Yep. As long as Hamilton keeps him pinned down, he can't go anyplace.
It looks like that 17 car might be a little bit loose getting that last corner there.
And you can see these cars moving around. And you say, isn't that uncomfortable to the drivers? Yes, it's very uncomfortable because you can feel it when these cars start moving around.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. has led 57 of the 175 laps that have been run so far today. He has had the dominant car. He's been right up the front of the pack all race long. We heard the report from pit road earlier how even after his dominating win in the Pepsi 400 at Daytona, the Dale Earnhardt Incorporated team went back to work on their engines to bring further increased horsepower here. I guess if they felt they needed validation from their Pepsi 400 win after some people threw around the fix word.
See Kyle Petty up there in the 45 car very high. Something has happened to Kyle's car. He has now gone 1 lap down to this group of cars.
Jeff Burton, haven't talked about him a whole lot, but he's started in the back, deep in the field. 33rd place. They had to fix the left front fender on his car after the happy hour crash yesterday. He got up to the front of the pack early in the race.
I'll tell you what, another guy that's done a great job the last few laps is Joe Nemechek on that last caution plane. They came in early, replaced a faulty shock absorber on the left front, and Nemechek has worked his way back up to the 10th position.
Marty.
Hey guys, look who I found in Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s pits. I think Wilson is afraid of these high speeds and all this close racing here at Talladega. Wilson has been evicted from the car. He now sits on the pit box. Too much bad luck, they said. So Dale Jr. said, get it out of the car, put it on the pit box. Maybe it'll change our luck this week. And looks like it might be working out pretty good for these guys.
If you're not familiar, Dale Earnhardt Jr. carried Wilson, the volleyball, from the movie Castaway with him to a couple of victories. At Dover, he had it on board and won the race, right?
That was the first time that he took Wilson for a ride, and they pulled off the win.
I said a couple of victories, to that one victory. And then he had him on board the next week, and things didn't work quite as well.
11 to go, 11.
Ten laps to go next time. When that last time by, when Dale Jr. was going down the backstretch, when we were getting Marty's report, he was waving at Jeff Burton behind him.
Yeah, he's just waving, come on, stay with me, let's go. Let's get away from those guys. You're about to find out who your friends are here.
And Bobby Hamilton in that very, very fast Square D car number 55 cannot make it go on the outside.
Now, Tony Stewart has cleared Hamilton. You said wouldn't be surprised to see him jump to the outside. Problem for him is his drafting partner, Bobby Labonte, can't clear Hamilton.
Right. He's got to wait till the 18 car gets behind him before Tony can make any kind of a move. Unless the 17 makes a move, he'll follow 17, but I think it looks like the 20 car is quicker than the 17 of Matt Kenseth's car.
Dave Burns.
Just checked in Bobby Labonte's pit. Bobby came on the radio and said, tell me when there's 5 laps to go. I want to be in the middle.
Well, there's somebody who likes the middle, BP.
Wow.
Marty? And guys, Jeff Gordon said the same thing. He actually said it before the race. He told Robbie Loomis, his crew chief, when it comes down to it, I want to be in the middle, find my way to the middle, because I think that will be the lane that will move.
I talked to Mike Wallace this morning down at the garage, and he said the same thing about the middle lane with the cars configured the way they are, seeming to be the one that always moves. Bill?
Alan, remember here in April, it was Bobby Hamilton that came charging from the back to win a la Earnhardt. Now desperately needing to catch up with that pack in front of him, but several drivers waiting for the 55 to do something. That's the car they want to latch on to.
And I think they're right. That's the only car they're going to have a chance to get by the 8 car. Then once they're by the 8 car, then it's going to be a free-for-all. But it's going to be real tough to do that with these 5 or 6 cars behind Dale Jr. lined up.
With the laps running out, Bobby Hamilton had to get down in that inside lane and fill that drafting hole. Now things are going to get interesting. The line is closed. Who's going to be the first one to break out and make the move to the outside among this lead group? 8 laps to go.
Well, I'll tell you, they need to hurry, because if that other line gets up next to them, the one that Kenny Wallace is leading, they're not going to have a chance to make a move.
There goes Tony Stewart and Bobby Hamilton. They've moved up high.
Stewart bails back out to the inside. Was he just trying to shake Hamilton and get Bobby up behind him?
Could be.
If he did, it worked. Now the 2 Gibbs cars are together. You got 2 Roush cars up there, Kenseth and Burton. Dale Jr.'s all alone. He lost his drafting partner when Michael Waltrip went out of the race. Kenny Wallace, there in the yellow car, hung back in traffic. Here comes Stewart, outside of Kenseth.
And Bobby Labonte quickly jumped on the back bumper of his teammate.
Now, if I'm the 99, I'm going to jump out right now, right in front of that 20 car, and let the 20 car push me by the 8 car.
Tony Stewart rode around at the back of the pack all race long, hoping to avoid the big wreck. Now, in the final laps, he's on the charge. Racing Benson for 3rd. Now to the outside of Burton for 2nd.
Protect the top side. Still clear up.
Dale Jr. moves to block.
And Hamilton is in the middle. Is that the spot to be? Bobby Labonte gets hung on the outside.
Six laps to go.
Inside, he's there.
He had the left side wheels down on that line. Did he cross it?
Both of you have held 2 by 2.
He may have got run down there, too, though. The same exact thing that happened at Daytona.
55 push.
3 wide up front. 7 to 5 to go.
The only thing the flagman held out that time, 5 fingers.
Please don't anybody make a mistake.
It's 3 wide behind you.
Well, there's the middle lane.
Ty Norris, Dale Earnhardt Jr. spotter. Bobby Labonte going to try the outside. Junior's going to move up and crowd him. Here comes Mark Martin. Where did he come from?
That's Mark. Where did he come from? And Kenny Wallace, he was back about 10th or 12th just a few laps ago.
Martin pushes Bobby Labonte out to the lead. Labonte led 24 laps earlier today. He's got a very strong car. Look at Bobby Hamilton force a hole to the inside of Kenny Wallace.
I tell you what, right now, if it's about 12 feet wide, they're going to put a car in it. There's Robert Preston, the 77 car.
Low line's moving.
Look at Tony Stewart. Look at that run. Stewart to second. Hamilton by Dale Jr.
Oh, 3 laps to go.
What drama here at Talladega. Bobby Labonte leads. Tony Stewart is second. Bobby Hamilton is third. All 30 cars on the lead lap in a big pack.
And Brett Bodine is 28th position, 1.4 seconds behind the leader.
Jeff Gordon drawing within range of the leaders. Keep an eye on that 24 car. It's money time. He usually shows up about then.
And Junior drives up the racetrack right in front of Bobby Hamilton. He knows Hamilton is a very good race car.
Look at the move by Dale Jr. Cuts out from underneath Stewart off turn 4. Second place. And 2 more laps.
This is unbelievable.
Well, we've seen the 8 car hasn't needed any help to get by other cars.
Ricky Craven looking low. Dale Jr. moves down to block Tony Stewart.
But when the 8 car does go around the 18, the 20 will go with the 18.
Ricky Craven drives up behind the 55 car, trying to help Bobby Hamilton to the front.
The white flag is up. Final lap at Talladega. Who's it going to be? Labonte, Earnhardt Jr., Stewart, or maybe somebody out of the pack? Look at this move by Jr. at the white flag.
And Tony Stewart goes with Jr.
Coming with you. 20's with you.
Labonte blocks Bobby Hamilton.
Cannot believe it.
Contact. Bobby Labonte's over. It's the big wreck on the final lap. They're racing back for the win. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Tony Stewart are side by side. This is for the victory as Jeff Burton gets in the middle of it. At least 10 cars involved in the wreck on the backstretch. Burton and Stewart are side by side. That's all Earnhardt Jr. needs to see. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has won the $1 million bonus here in Talladega.
Easy around this corner because there's a big crash on the back straightaway.
The big crash happened on the final lap. Racing for the win. Bobby Labonte's car upside down. Ricky Craven just climbed from his car. Terry Labonte driving back around. Dave Burns.
Alan, the 18 crew heard a radio transmission from Bobby Labonte that he was okay. We understand now he is out of his car, so they're going to pick up here. They know Bobby's okay.
Yeah, we are looking at him now, Dave. He has climbed from the car. Good news.
And one of those wheels are still spinning. And Ricky Craven climbed from his car and just sat down. There you see him sitting on the ground. Wow.
Ricky Rudd trying to make it around to the finish line. Dale Jarrett hasn't come around. Robert Presley, Ward Burton, Buckshot Jones, Johnny Benson.
And Ricky
the other
Rudd
cars
did
involved.
not make it. Not going to make it.
Sterling Marlin was involved. That's his car all torn up, going backwards up the pit lane.
On board with Sterling. There's Robert Presley's car.
Bill Elliott was involved. He's coming backwards up the pit lane. There's Dale Jarrett's car. Never made it to the checkered flag. Ward Burton trying to get to the checkers.
And he's going to make it to the line.
And he'll turn around right here.
What a wild finish. Dale Earnhardt Jr. being saluted by the 160,000 here in Talladega for his victory in the EA Sports 500 presented by Dodge. Let's mention that Jeff Gordon, the championship leader, did get through the wreck. He came to the checkered flag in 7th.
I'm a little surprised the teammates didn't work together there at last lap, BP.
Yeah. Let's go back and take a look at it. White flag was up. We were on the final lap of the race.
You see Bobby Hamilton, the 55 car, trying to get on the outside of Bobby Labonte. Labonte comes back down the hill, and now all of a sudden they're 4 wide. And Hamilton gets in the left rear of Bobby Labonte's car, and we see the car start tumbling down the backstretch.
And there's not a whole lot you can do. When you're behind that, all you see is smoke and cars go sideways. You just try to hold the steering wheel straight and get through it somehow.
Rode the roof the whole way. Never flipped over. Just on the roof, and that's how it rode the whole way down the backstretch. Hard crash for Benson there. Mike Wallace. There's Rusty Wallace in the grass. Ricky Craven.
That Bobby Hamilton Jr. there in the 4 car.
Yeah.
One more shot. Once again, Hamilton tries to go on the outside. Bobby Labonte, the 18, goes up to block him. They make a little contact, but everything's okay. Then Hamilton drives to the inside, and here they're going to get 4 wide. There just isn't room coming off that corner for 4 wide. And how Jeff Gordon got through that is amazing. The car behind him, Mike Wallace, crashed.
They got within a half a lap of the checkered flag.
Just listen to this.
Sterling Marlin's view.
In front of you. Go low, go low, go low.
He actually got hit, it looks like. He was trying to go straight through it, and somebody got into the back of him and turned him sideways.
Oh, man, that was close. That was close.
Oh. Buckshot Jones. They finally come to a meeting.
Johnny Benson.
All you're worried about, all this time, what Johnny's worried about is somebody hitting him. Marty?
Well, Bobby Hamilton literally shaking. Take us through those last few laps and how nerve-wracking all this is.
Well, it was tight. Dale Jr. had a real good car, and we was able to run good together. And I got on the outside, and I couldn't get any good help behind me, but we were still pretty good out there. So went in that last corner, and I had a real good run on him to go 3 deep. And when I did, the 18 went to block me, which he should, and I turned up under him. And he turned down to block me, and he didn't know I was there, and it turned him and scared me. I come back around, took the checker, went back over to the crash site and stopped and checked on him, make sure he was all right. It was a pretty bad crash, but hope everybody's all right in that deal. And just come down the last lap, and everybody's rooting and gouging. But real happy with the guys on the Square D Chevrolet. You know, we won here in the spring out of top 5 and had a good call.
Literally shaking. Bobby Hamilton finishes 5th today. Alan?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. has won today. And Chevy congratulates Dale on the number 8 Monte Carlo on a big win, and he'll tell you the only thing that comes close to Monte Carlo's reputation on the track is its reputation on the street. Monte Carlo, more champions depend on Chevy. He'll be there. Bill Weber.
A small celebration here in Victory Lane at Talladega Superspeedway in Talladega, Alabama. Congratulations, a wild finish and a great race for you. DEI wins 3 of the 4 plate races this year.
Yeah, I guess we proved that there wasn't no fix over in Daytona. But
you're on a mission for that, weren't you?
Yeah, I had to do it. I mean, I had to get really aggressive there at the end, but hell, everybody else was. So either block them or get run over, and trying to do a little bit of both. And had fun. It's a great race car. Congratulations to Budweiser, Remington, all our sponsors. It's a great day. $1 million for fans, and can't be any happier.
You pitted late, had to come through the field, similar to your finish at Daytona, only here you had a little more time to do it, and you had to come from deeper in the pack.
Yeah, it's a little bit harder to do that here. I don't know why, but it's almost 2 different racetracks. I'm almost out of breath, man. I was a little bit sick this morning when I got up, and didn't know if I was going to feel good or not, but this makes it all better.
Obviously, you know your dad had tremendous success here at Talladega. Now another Earnhardt comes to Victory Lane here.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. I mean, he won this same race last year under the same circumstances. We've done some crazy things this year. Winning at Daytona, winning after the terrorist attacks, the race after that, and now winning this race, and you know, just like my daddy did. So it's crazy, man. I don't know what's going on. Yeah.
So Wilson goes back on the wagon next week?
No, Wilson's going every week.
In the car or on the wagon?
On the car. He's been great luck, man. We needed this for the points too. That's huge. I got 5 races left, and I want to finish in the top 10 in points in my second season so I can get up on New York and give my piece to him.
And $1 million for you and a race fan.
Yeah, let me see her.
Uh-oh, hang on.
Her name's Carrie Richter, and she's from Ohio. So yesterday we ran an EA Sports race on the computer, and some little 15-year-old dude won $10,000. So we've been winning all kinds of money from people this week.
Congratulations. Great race, great win.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, guys.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. in Victory Lane here at Talladega. $1 million for him, and the Noble bonus pays off again.
Sure does, Bill. Top 10 in the EA Sports 500 here at Talladega. Tony Stewart, after hanging around the back of the pack all day, comes up with a second-place finish. Bobby Hamilton comes through the wreck to finish 5th. Jeff Gordon protects his championship lead with a 7th-place run. Kevin LePage comes home with a top 10 also. The last lap, half a lap from the checkered flag. It all went awry for 16 cars. That's how many were involved in the wreck, including Sterling Marlin, whom you ride with through it all. Welcome back. It's the Autotrader.com post-race show. Our coverage of today's action at Talladega and the wild, incredible finish with Dale Earnhardt Jr. winning and 16 cars involved in a big wreck, half a lap from the checkered flag. Jeff Gordon gains 61 points in his championship quest today, Matt Yoakum.
Alan, Jeff Gordon failed to win a restrictor plate race in 2001, but it sure seemed like a win today by how you made it through that. How'd you make it through it, Jeff?
Well, you guys got the in-car, so you know I didn't lift much. You know, I saw Bobby get sideways, and
you know, he was up on the outside, and I was hoping he was going to stay there, and then next thing I know, he came around, and I just, you know, I got out of the gas for a split second. I said, I can't, I got to go. And I just went right back to full throttle, and Kenseth and I just kind of used each other as a cushion. He hit me, I hit him, and that cut the left front tire. So I got through the wreck, no problem, and, you know, I was like, okay, good, we'll finish, you know, top 5, being the no bull for Vegas, and all of a sudden the left front went down as I got into turn 3, and I just had to baby it back to the finish. So we're thrilled with a 7th, I guess, is what we ended up. And that's really, we wanted to come out here the top 10. You know, it's just so crazy out there, and I'm just so thankful to have these restrictor plate races out of the way, even though we didn't win one.
It looked like his race car came from Martinsville, not Talladega, Marty Snyder.
Well, and here's the man that they beat and banged with, Jeff Gordon did, and Matt, Jeff was saying you guys just use each other as kind of a cushion there on the racetrack.
Well, we were side by side for quite a bit of the day, but when that wreck happened, you know, first I hit the brakes, I had to turn left and stood in the gas, and, you know, he was right at my door, and we just both squeezed through there. So I was real thankful to make it through there. You know, we had 4 restrictor plate races, and I don't think we got wrecked in any of them. So that's about a miracle to do that in a year. So I'm happy to be out of here and get a good finish.
And a much-needed top 5 for these guys. Matt Kenseth comes home 4th. Today, Burns.
Ricky Craven has just exited the infield care center. Ricky, describe what you saw.
Well, I didn't see anything. I mean, I was just, it's time to go, and we put ourselves in position to have a good finish, and I got clobbered. So, you know, it's just, as mad as I am, it's pretty hard to point the finger because it's a ridiculous form of racing. And, you know, you end up racing defensively the last 2 or 3 laps. I love what I do, and I love driving the tide forward, but I'm going to tell you, that's crazy when you put that kind of, when you put competitors in that situation. And I still don't know what happened. I just know the 18 car clobbered me. And I might as well just stop talking. But I'll see everybody next week, and it's been a good week, and I really appreciate everybody's well wishes after last week's win. We'll carry on next week. I'm really looking forward to it.
Suffice it to say, winning at Martinsville was a whole lot better than what happened here today, guys.
Yeah, I would say that. The frustration will be echoed for some time to come by the drivers involved in that accident.
And Tony, you're the team manager getting a little bit of bath. Oh, he's taking a little drink now, but so why waste some good champagne?
$1 million day for Dale Earnhardt Jr. as well as a fan. This is the 11th time that the $1 million has been given away in that promotion's history.
Back at Talladega Superspeedway with Bobby Labonte, who had led, was up in the lead pack, and then, Bobby, what happened?
Well, you tell me, you know, I got a little bit of run on the 8 and the 20 car, and tried to block the 8 car at the start-finish line, and, you know, he cleaned off the left side of the rear bumper, and, you know, and that's what you do in this, you know, that's what you do here. You know, you block people, so you drive with the rearview mirror and to try to win, which is what we all want to do, and then the 55 car got the rest of it. And, you know, one nobody's fault. It's just the nature of the beast here. So, but it was an interesting little part was I was listening to the radio on the way in the ambulance, and everybody said it was a pretty exciting race, so I was glad to hear that.
Well, that was the one positive out of the whole thing. Was racing with your teammate, could that have been better? Could you guys have done anything better racing together that might have avoided this?
Large rainstorm, earthquake, who knows, but not really. I mean, you know, it's just part of it. You know, you ride around for a long time and you wait to the end, and you know, the grandstands are full and everybody's okay. I guess it's okay. You know, I mean, we're okay, and you know, just part of it. Hate that we tore up a race car, but that was old piece anyway. So I guess we need a new one. But you know, that's typical racing here a lot of times. And today we rode up front instead of riding around the back.
It was your oldest car, but it was very good. And then you got on your roof. What was the ride like on the roof?
Oh, it wasn't too bad. Actually smoother than a lot of times on the wheels, but it was on fire about halfway down back straightaway, and I slid the fire extinguisher off, and you know, when it came to a stop, I hopped out, but you know, everything worked fine. You know, safety stuff worked fine. You know, just you know, if we don't get killed here otherwise, I guess it's okay.
No injuries, though, Bobby, at all?
Nah, just, you know, of course, a heartache and a hard feelings leads to a bitterness right now, but you know, when you go home and cool off, everything will be fine, but it's part of it.
He had a strong car that was poised to win. Matt?
And for the second straight trip to Talladega, Sterling Marlin leaves disappointed and frustrated. Sterling.
Same old stuff. I mean, during the week, it's been every driver probably going to trailer and try to get them to fix this stuff, and it falls on deaf ears. And we run a test down here for them. I thought we could have something to work with, but with the rules you got, that's not racing. I mean, it's not a racing. I mean, you sit there on the gas, off the gas, side by side, 3 deep, people cutting you off. I mean, it's ridiculous. And if they cannot see to fix it, I mean, I want to ask my fun it is sitting there with the driver's door. You're sitting there in traffic coming at you. I mean, that's not a lot of fun. And that's what they ask for every time they do this.
Can you take us on that last lap?
I don't know. It's just a bunch of smoke. I seen it up front, checked up, and somebody run the back of me, and I hit somebody. It's just everybody. You got that many cars on top of each other. It's going to happen. So they got to fix it. I mean, they just got to fix it.
Does something need to be done when we go back to Daytona for speed weeks?
We need to run 200 mile an hour, and that's going to separate the good cars and the bad cars. I mean, our guys on the race team work their guts out to have a good race car, and it don't matter. I mean, you took guys today that had to go to backup cars 5 laps there up front, and you can take a junk car and run good here. I mean, it's nothing to it, and they got to separate the cars somehow, but it's up to them. I guess we'll do what we've done again, Daytona, wreck them all again.
That's Sterling Marlin, Alan.
Well, we knew we were going to hear a lot of very hard words if the big wreck happened, and it did, and we are hearing them. Jeff Burton finished 3rd today. Moments ago, Marty Snyder spoke with him.
Well, Jeff Burton, you just took the last few laps right behind Dale Earnhardt Jr., and I think you were thinking, I'm not going to move from this spot.
No, he got me. I helped him a lot early in the race. He helped me a lot early in the race, and, you know, you got to repay those favors, and I had a choice to go between a 20 and the 8, and the 8 put me where I was, so I had to go with the 8. That's just what you got to do. But good day for all of us. You know, we ran well today. We're just a little bit slower than the Chevrolets are, but nonetheless, it was a good day for us. I hope everybody's okay. That looked like a pretty nasty wreck.
And these guys continue their roll with another top 5. Jeff Burton 3rd here at Talladega.
Check the results of today's EA Sports 500 from Talladega, presented by Dodge. Dale Earnhardt Jr. picks up the victory, his 3rd of 2001. Nice top 10 for Kevin LePage.
That's the 7th car. That's the 4th time this year that car has finished in the top 10 at restrictor plate races.
12th place for Brett Bodine. Good effort there. Jason Leffler wound up 15th. All these cars here in the middle of the wreck. Hamilton Jr., Leffler, Wallace, Marlin, Mike Wallace, all in the middle of the big wreck on the back straightaway.